Chapter 1903. It's similar to a cultivation technique. It's a small method for me to comprehend the mortal world and talk to myself. In his previous life, Jiang Tian had reached the primordial chaos god realm. He had created a new world and reshaped the universe. He was someone who could converse with the Buddha and the Tao ancestor. He had mastered many cultivation techniques that were as vast as the sea. Jiang Tian didn't master any of them, but he didn't care about them either. The strange man's hair was gray, long and messy, intertwining with each other and covering his face, only revealing a pair of eyes filled with greed, confusion, and fear. Suddenly, he stared at Dongfang Ying and Princess Mou, and said with a sneaky smile, "Benzin these two little girls' skin is so glossy and smooth, and they're so affectionate towards you. Why do you have to endure your desires? Fake Taoism. Fake seriousness. Full to death, hungry to death. In my opinion, I should bring them all into the harem. Tonight, we can exercise together and reach paradise together. Wouldn't that be beautiful?" Little Princess Dongfang Ying looked at all of this in a daze. She felt that it was very interesting and her face was flushed red. Princess Mou's beautiful face turned stiff, and she looked at Jiang Tian mockingly. "Hee, I didn't expect Mr. Zhang's heart to be so dirty. As expected of a lecher. This time, you won't be able to escape the title of lecher. In a time of crisis, you still have the mood to pay attention to these details. Why would a man of the martial world care about a few words of jest?" Seeing this scene, Jiang Tian's face also turned red. He covered his face with his hands and was extremely embarrassed. This was the fear and worry in Jiang Tian's heart. It was the desire and worry in his heart. It was the anger and hatred in his heart. It was the beast thoughts and devil thoughts in his heart. However, this was also a part of him. It could only be suppressed and not erased. At this moment, he spoke without restraint and spoke of the beast thoughts in the depths of his heart. Jiang Tian was also helpless. I, Jiang Tian, wore a Taoist robe, had sword-like eyebrows and starry eyes, and was as handsome as a god. He was enshrouded in immortal light and divine splendor, and exuded a sacred aura like that of an immortal. He took a step forward and stepped on death of self, then flicked his sleeves and said coldly, "You're lusting after my body again. Despicable." Jiang Tian's old bones creaked, as if they were about to break and shatter. This is love. This was the resonance of the soul. Do you understand? Tell me, you don't understand love. Leifeng Pagoda, he collapsed. If we're talking about fake Taoism, you're even more disgusting than my brother. Jiang Tian lay on the ground like a salted fish. He didn't resist, but instead retorted and threatened endlessly. "Now that we're evenly matched, I can't kill you. But one day, I will kill you too for your fake Taoism. What seeking immortality? What fighting for the great Tao? What climbing the long path of immortality? What seeking immortality? What seeking immortality? It's too tiring and meaningless. I'm going to enjoy the present and accompany the depraved mortal world. I'm going to live a carefree and unrestrained life. I'm going to ride my horse and enjoy the prosperity of the mortal world. Doesn't he smell good? Just you wait. You are not as despicable and shameless as I am. You are bound by all kinds of morals and morals. You are definitely not as good as me. Humph." As he threatened Jiang Tian, he winked at little Princess Dongfang Ying and said with a smile, "Fairy, I wonder if you're interested in discussing with me the knowledge of dual cultivation that can not only increase one's cultivation, but also make one feel good from head to toe. Even the ends of one's hair are trembling in pleasure." Seeing Jiang Tian being so frivolous and wild, she was so scared that she shrank her head and hid behind Princess Mou. "All right, you know the current situation. Go and take your missions." Jiang Tian coughed and said seriously, "I'm going to save the Lin family's ancestor." Jiang Tian had deep facial features, sharp eyebrows, starry eyes, a high nose bridge, and thin lips, revealing a bit of fickleness. Coupled with his eyes that were as calm as an ancient well and emotionless as the great Tao of the heavens, he was like a vast immortal from the 9 heavens, giving people great pressure. Naturally, it's that little girl Dai. Previously, she humiliated me, turned her back on me, and looked down on me. Watch how I deal with her and tease her. On Jiang Tian's face that was like a withered tree bark, there was a playful expression as he laughed. Good. Then I'll go with Marquis Lin to save the Lin family. Jiang Tian nodded. Then he looked calmly at Jiang Tian and said in a deep voice, "You'd better behave yourself to Lin Dai. Don't humiliate our names, otherwise, we'll take care of you together. We 3 as one, although we can't kill you, but we can't avoid all kinds of torture and pain of the flesh." In the case of doppelgangers, each had its own consciousness, soul perception, and if the original self and Tao self attacked, the pain would be borne by him. So annoying. After fighting for a lifetime, can't I enjoy it? Jiang Tian was depressed, and then like a strange bird, he soared into the air and flew in the direction of White Flower Peak. Beast. Low level. Jiang Tian snorted, his face full of disdain. His figure flashed, and suddenly disappeared from where he was. The next moment, he appeared thousands of miles away from Jianghan City. His figure flickered, and like lightning, he rushed toward the place where the Lin family's ancestor was in seclusion. Jiang Tian's body flashed, and he used the heaven-deceiving mysterious technique, turning into Lin Yang's appearance. Even the temperament of a dandy was the same, and Lin Yang was stunned. Jiang Tian's body laughed and said, "Lin Yang, you stay in the princess's palace and protect the princess." "I have to stay." "Why do you want me to stay?" Lin Yang was dissatisfied. He puffed out his chest and said proudly, "Now I'm at the peak of the Aurus core stage, half a step away from the nascent soul stage. I've crushed Xi Yunxiao, the southern border genius, and can fight. Now that Goyu is in danger, I can show off my power and save the damsel in distress, and let her see me in a new light. It doesn't matter if you appear or not. The most important thing is that I don't appear by the Marquis' side." Jiang Tian was unperturbed, smiling meaningfully. "What do you mean?" "Take me with you, and I won't be a burden to you." Lin Yang was confused. Rotten wood can't be carved. Jiang Tian's body shook his head helplessly and said with a wry smile, "Why don't you understand? Of course you can't go. If you go, who am I to follow the Marquis?" With that, he strode out of the door with Lin Hanqing. "What do you mean?" Behind him, Lin Yang looked at eldest Princess Mou and asked. "It's very simple. This time, the enemy really wants to kill your father. If Mr. Jiang follows the Marquis, the enemy won't attack. The other party is luring the enemy to go deeper, and Mr. Jiang is also luring the enemy to go deeper." Eldest Princess Mou quickly figured out the crux of the matter and smiled. She looked at the dark sky filled with dark clouds, and a trace of worry appeared on her pretty face. She sighed and said, "The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Both sides are using the same trick. I just don't know who is the mantis and who is the oriole this time. That's 9 semi-god realm warriors." However, she knew that no matter what the outcome was, the great change in the Empire's situation would begin tonight. Chapter 1904. Outside the Princess Royal's palace. Seeing Jiang Tian come out, Zhang Linfeng hurriedly jumped down from the flood dragon carriage and quickly went to greet them. He stared blankly for a moment and said, "Marquis, young Marquis, where is Teacher Jiang? How did you solve the problem tonight? Please tell me." Jiang Tian acted like Lin Yang in the past. He slapped Zhang Linfeng's face, making his mouth bleed. He said coldly, "Dog slave, is this something you can ask? You are a servant, a consecrator. Do I need to report to you how the Lin family solved the problem? This." "Young master, why are you?" Zhang Linfeng was shocked and angry at the same time. He couldn't believe it. There was a trace of killing intent deep in his eyes. Even if Lin Yang was very arrogant and foppish, he was only arrogant to those who had no power or low cultivation. In the past, he was very polite to him, the head of the consecrator group. Why was he like this today? Was this the mentality of the strong after the breakthrough? Zhang Linfeng was confused and couldn't understand. He wanted to kick Lin Yang to death, but considering that there would be a decisive battle tonight, he naturally didn't dare to complicate things. He could only endure for the time being. You blabber on and on every day, spouting as much nonsense as farts. This little marquis has had enough of you. Jiang Tian was also a big foppish playboy on earth in his previous life. When he played the role of a young master, he had both the spirit and the body. He pointed at Zhang Linfeng's nose and shouted, "What are you talking about? Can't I hit you? Don't you agree? I am at least in the peak gold core realm, a genius of Nanjiang, and your master. Hurry up and drive the carriage. Go quickly. Go to the Golden Sands city and meet with Goyu." As he spoke, he flung his sleeves and strode forward with Lin Hanqing to board the Flood Dragon Horse flying carriage. Yes. Zhang Linfeng was so angry that his entire body was trembling. He gritted his teeth and raised his whip. The dragon horse soared into the sky and flew past numerous tall palaces, rows upon rows of streets and buildings, flying out of the city as fast as lightning. Inside the carriage, Jiang Tian puffed out his chest. His words were filled with arrogance and disdain. Even his tone and expression were vivid. I'm a golden core paragon, half a step away from the nascent soul realm, the #1 genius of the southern border who crushed Ziyun Shao. Who can stop me? Tonight, my little darling Goyu is in danger, so I, the little marquis, can show off my invincible might and be the hero saving the damsel in distress. I'll kill all sorts of rascals and make her see me in a new light. Humph, a mere semi-god realm cultivator. I can send him flying with one punch. Idiot, you're just a golden core cultivator and a nascent soul cultivator. A divinity transformation cultivator can kill you with one finger. Good, good, good. You dare to slap me? I'll make you kneel and beg for mercy later. You even want to humiliate that little sister in front of you. Let's see how you react. At this moment, Zhang Linfeng sneered. His son, Zhang Muyun, has been in love with Lin Dyer for a long time, but Lin Yang looked down on Zhang Muyun and Zhang Linfeng. He humiliated and blamed them many times, which made Zhang Linfeng hate Lin Yang to the bone. At this moment, new and old grudges attacked his heart. Zhang Linfeng only felt his anger burning, and his teeth almost broke from clenching. Master Zhang, I apologize to you on behalf of my son. After all, the Lin family is in great trouble, and Lin Yang is anxious, so he offended you just now. You are a magnanimous person, please don't blame him. Lin Hanqing was also acting as himself. He sighed with shame. Don't hold a grudge because of my son's offense. This is all because I didn't teach my son well. When we rescue Madam, Miss Goyu, and the other family members later, a great battle is inevitable. I hope you will do your best and fight bravely. Marquis Lin, you worry too much. Zhang Linfeng hurriedly said with sincerity. As the saying goes, one must be loyal to the monarch. I take the Lin family's offerings and eat the Lin family's spiritual grains. Naturally, I will fight for the Lin family and will not hide anything. The little marquis is young and impetuous. He is very affectionate and lovable. Why would I bicker with him? That's good, that's good. Lin Hanqing smiled. If you can rescue Madam and the others, I will definitely reward you handsomely. I have been loyal to the Lin family for 100 years. Although we are master and servant in name, the marquis treats me like a brother. Zhang Linfeng seemed to be moved even by himself. It is my duty to serve the Lin family. Marquis Lin, you don't have to be so polite. That's right, then I won't give it to you. Jiang Tian suddenly laughed evilly. Ah! Zhang Linfeng was stunned. In my opinion, Master Linfeng's talent is mediocre and extremely incompetent. Although he has worked hard, he has not made any contributions. Compared to Mr. Jiang, the difference is too great. It's like the difference between heaven and earth. Little Princess Dongfang Ying's chronic illness was cured by him, right? It was also him who helped me cultivate and reach the peak. It was the old man who fought for the herb garden at Tiger Head Ridge at the banquet tonight. Jiang Tian was spouting nonsense. He laughed. In my opinion, you should be more respectful to him normally. Kowtow 3 times and 9 times, follow the etiquette of a disciple and call him Dao ancestor. Who knows, he might be happy and casually give you a few pointers. Wouldn't you be able to reach the peak like me? Ha, the little marquis has a point. Zhang Linfeng was so angry that he almost vomited blood. However, he took the opportunity to ask casually. Mr. Jiang is indeed a talented person. If the old man were to say, he should be the one to personally rescue the Lin family tonight. Where did he go? He went to rescue the elder ancestor. Lin Hanqing smiled bitterly. He can't split himself. With 3 powers erupting at the same time, he can't help but lose sight of one. We'll go rescue the Lin family and Miss Goyu first. If we can't beat the enemy, we'll stall for time and wait for Mr. Jiang to return. That's the only way. Zhang Linfeng's eyes flashed with a trace of cunningness. He looked at the always-on communication device and thought to himself, Purple Marquis should have received the message and know about Lin Hanqing's plans. On the tower of Jianghan City. Under the escort of a few southern nobles, Purple Marquis black hair fluttered in the night wind. He stood with his hands behind his back. His back was straight like a peerless sword. His face was stern and his eyes were bright as he looked at the dragon carriage speeding out of the city. Landlord Wang stepped forward and said in a low voice, the divine sense mark I left on Jiang Xiqing shows that she is indeed heading out of the city. She's headed straight for Maple City. She shouldn't be in Lin Hanqing's dragon carriage. Do it. Lin Hanqing is alone and there's that trash Lin Yang. If we don't kill them now, when will we? Marquis Shanshue was so anxious that he scratched his head and couldn't help but urge. His son Li Ludao was already seriously injured and was like a cripple. He would definitely lose the hidden dragon trials and lose his title. As the saying goes, those who have nothing to lose are not afraid of wearing shoes. If Purple Marquis was the one who wanted to rebel the most and steal the royal family's land, he would definitely be the second. Yes, Marquis, let's rebel. Rebel. The Eastern royal family has always wanted to weaken us. If we don't rebel, we'll just sit there and wait for death. Let's kill Lin Hanqing first and then the 23 nobles of southern Jiang will head straight for the royal city. The nobles couldn't help but shout. Wait a little longer. Purple Marquis's face was as cold as iron as he shouted. At the same time, the communication jade card at his waist rang again. Purple Marquis took a look and finally confirmed it. He laughed coldly and said, the news is true. Jiang Xiqing and Lin Hanqing have already separated. Lin Hanqing has just reached the soul formation stage and Lin Yang is only at the peak stage of the golden core stage. Killing them will be as easy as killing chickens. Everyone looked at each other and saw the excitement and anticipation on each other's faces. Marquis, are you going to do it yourself? I don't know if I can follow and watch. Marquis Shanshue was like a fly rubbing its hands together and said with anticipation, that Jinyuan Marquis has humiliated me again and again tonight. I really want to see his miserable appearance when he's killed. Chapter 1905. Without the imperial family's order, the vassals are not allowed to kill each other. Purple Shan Marquis smiled sinisterly, we are all loyal to the Eastern imperial family, how could we go against the imperial order? We are nobles, upper-class people with a clean background. How can we be the ones to kill? Who will do it? Lin Hanqing, that old man, is at least at the spirit-severing realm. Only a spirit-severing realm cultivator can do it. Marquis Shanshue anxiously asked. Ask a half-step saint to do it. Suddenly, Purple Shan Marquis's expression became serious. He faced a small city outside of the city and knelt down, sending a message with his divine sense. Boom! The small city named Stone Tablet City was one of the 13 cities. It was only 1/10 the size of Jianghan City. The people living there were also rogue cultivators and mortals. However, at this moment, a monstrous aura soared to the sky, shaking the heavens and the earth. Between the heaven and earth, there seemed to be the sound of the grand Tao and the laws trembling. The pressure caused many vassals to be on the verge of collapsing and almost crawling on the ground. Peak spirit severing realm, comparable to a half-step saint. At this moment, many vassals were frightened. This peak spirit severing expert sent a message with his divine sense, Purple Shan Marquis, today, I will lend you a hand. However, in the future, if you can succeed, you must remember your promise. In the next moment, Xiao Chen's figure flickered, and he disappeared from where he stood. In a flash, he was already 1,000 miles away. His speed was so fast that it made Purple Marquis and the others gasp in amazement. He chased after the flood dragon horse flying carriage that Jiang Tian was on. Who is this person? Why do I feel a demonic aura soaring to the sky? Suddenly, Landlord Wang frowned and asked. Ha, this person is one of the 4 protectors of the Myriad Demons Temple, Sir God Qi Ling. Purple Shan Marquis' words shocked everyone. There was a dead silence. Even Landlord Wang of the Fragrant Medicine Pavilion was stunned. So, Purple Shan Marquis is working with the demon race? Especially Marquis Shanshui, he was so shocked that his face turned pale. The Myriad Demon Palace was a force of the demon race that emerged from the evil-infested ridge in the critical Grand Canyon 300 years ago. Its development was extremely fast and its experts were as numerous as the clouds. They burned, killed, and plundered everywhere. The Eastern Imperial family had joined forces with the feudal lords to encircle and annihilate them many times, but they had never succeeded. Instead, they had suffered heavy losses and their treasury was empty. In the pantheon of demons, Demon King Han Guang was the most powerful. He had a very mysterious origin. 300 years ago, he appeared out of nowhere and defeated many great demons. It was as if he had jumped out of a crack in a rock. He was said to be a saint of the Void Return realm and was extremely powerful. He was so fierce that he could stop children from crying at night. He had defeated numerous monsters. His 4 half-saint protectors and 13 late divine lord elders were all supreme elders of the monster race. Each one of them had experienced hundreds of battles and were individuals that could stand on their own. In terms of strength, they were able to suppress ordinary dukes. As for the Foundation Establishment Realm and Golden Core Realm monsters, they also joined him. There were countless of them. It could be said that thousands of demons and evils had gathered. This divine Lord Qi Ling was one of the 4 protectors under Demon King Han Guang. He was a Qilin beast with the bloodline of an ancient divine beast. It was said that he had 3,000 years of life and 1,000 years of cultivation. His magical power was extremely profound and his divine abilities were unpredictable. He had killed many descendants of feudal lords. That year, when he was besieged by an army of tens of thousands of cultivators led by Fang Jinlong, he fought his way out and calmly retreated. It doesn't matter if he is a demon or a human. As long as he supports Purple Shan Marquis, he is one of us. Landlord Wang was the first to regain his senses. He laughed and said with great enthusiasm, no wonder Purple Shan Marquis is so generous. To deal with a small Zhenyuan Marquis, he sent out 9 divine lords. So, he has the backing of the Myriad Demon Palace. This time, Purple Shan Marquis did not use his own divine transformation realm divine lords to deal with Lin Hanqing. However, Lin Hanqing was still unable to attend to one thing and lose sight of another. Now, they finally understood. I heard that the half-saint Qi Ling once fought with Fang Jinlong 100 years ago. He was able to reduce Fang Jinlong's cultivation by a small level with 1 palm. Fang Jinlong had to cultivate for 30 years to return to his peak. That Lin Hanqing is inferior to Fang Jinlong by more than just a little bit. How could he withstand a light blow from him? Marquis Shanshui laughed with exultation. With the support of the Myriad Demon Palace, Purple Shan Marquis is powerful. The throne is within reach. The feudal lords all prayed and were satisfied with their success. The dragon horse flying carriage traveled 1,000 miles in the blink of an eye. Soon, they were out of Jianghan City and the 13 surrounding cities. They flew past fields and paths, out of the Xianji forest, and over the Red Rock Basin. In the distance, the majestic golden sand city of the southern border was shining brightly. Even if they were 100,000 miles away, they could still see it clearly. This was the Zhuowang Peak, a large mountain range in the southern part of the empire. The terrain was complicated, and the gullies were bottomless. The peaks were like the corpses of true dragons, strange and dangerous, but magnificent. Moreover, there were cracks in the demonic world that constantly released billowing demonic chi. Many demonic beasts, including large nascent soul stage beasts, roamed around. Therefore, ordinary nascent soul stage cultivators didn't dare to stay here. It was said to be a dangerous place with few people. At this time, Jiang Tian suddenly said, "Taoist Lin Feng, isn't the direction a bit wrong? Shouldn't we go to the Black Stone Forest where the Lin family is? If we go straight, I'm afraid we'll miss the stone forest." Zhang Linfeng slowly lowered the dragon horse flying carriage and jumped down. He stood on the hillside and smiled eerily. "This is the right direction." "The right direction?" Jiang Tian got down and looked around. He sneered. "Do you want to rebel?" "Of course." Zhang Linfeng smiled. "Young Marquis, this is the way to send you to the Western Paradise. Don't you know?" As soon as he said that, the dragon horse flying carriages that followed him also landed. "Let's send the young Marquis and young Marquis on their way." There were a total of 8 peak stage nascent soul stage masters. Their nascent souls trembled, Dharma laws rumbled and their fields were spread. Some were ghostly, some were silver, some were black, and some were white. They all looked unfriendly and their eyes were cold. They occupied the sky and the ground and surrounded Jiang Tian and Lin Fan in all directions. That wasn't all. Then, a peak stage soul formation overlord in a loose robe and a bronze mask was standing on a mountain 50 miles away, letting out terrifying noises like a supersonic fighter jet. He stood there with his hands behind his back and stared at Jiang Tian and Jiang Qin coldly. He was far more powerful than Zhang Linfeng and Lin Hanqing, but he didn't seem to have any intention of attacking. "Ha! Zhang Linfeng, you really want to rebel. The Lin family has treated you well all these years, but you betrayed them. You're really an ingrate." Jiang Tian seemed to be enraged and asked coldly. "I was originally one of the Purple Marquis men. I sneaked into the Zhenyuan Marquis mansion as a spy. I wanted to kill you and your father one day. The salary I got from the Purple Marquis, the mansion, the land, the magic treasures and pills, and even the crystal beauties were 10 times, 100 times more than what the Lin family gave me. How can you say that I betrayed you?" Zhang Linfeng smiled triumphantly. He expected to see anger, panic, and even pity on Jiang Tian and Lin Fan's faces. Unexpectedly, Zhenyuan Marquis forced a smile and said, "Sure enough, you're right. This kid wanted to rebel long ago." This time, Zhang Linfeng was quite surprised. His face froze and he said in disbelief, "You already know? Then why?" Chapter 1906. Boom! The world shook and dozens of miles were filled with their terrifying energy. How terrifying would it be when a second-level soul formation cultivator and 8 peak stage nascent soul cultivators worked together? Not even 100 normal nascent soul cultivators would be as powerful as them. At this moment, even though they hadn't made a move yet, just the pressure from their auras was like a mountain and an ocean. Even though Lin Hanqing was protected by his own protective barrier and Jiang Tian's formless laws, he still felt as if he was about to suffocate. At this moment, Lin Hanqing was a bit panicked as he saw the nascent soul realm and the soul formation realm coming at him. He didn't have absolute confidence in Jiang Tian. Zhang Linfeng is so powerful. He's terrifying to the extreme. Can Mr. Jiang really fight against Zhang Linfeng and the 8 nascent soul cultivators? Ah, Mr. Zhang's move to lure the enemy in is indeed a bit reckless. Why don't we run for our lives now? In that split second, Lin Hanqing's mind spun rapidly, and many ideas came one after another. This is indeed the divine origin realm. Any soul formation cultivator or nascent soul cultivator can set up a realm or a forbidden area. Nascent soul cultivators and soul formation cultivators at such a level would be considered elites in the Little South Heavenly Realm or even the entire Milky Way. And yet, they can only be purple shirt Marquis's dog here, they can't even be considered a giant. Jiang Tian looked calm after seeing that, but he was also a bit emotional. Whoosh! Zhang Linfeng's Black Wind Dharma laws were not only terrifying when it came to killing enemies, it was also a void-shattering art. It was as dark and deep as a black hole, as if it could connect time and space and the world. After a sharp sound, he had already broken the air and was a mile away from Jiang Tian in a blink. The other nascent soul cultivators also released their Dharma treasures and spread out, quickly approaching Jiang Tian as fast as lightning, trapping him in the middle. Jiang Tian and Lin Hanqing were quickly surrounded, as if they were in a hopeless situation. Jiang, we will only kill Lin Hanqing. You can submit to the Purple Marquis. The Purple Marquis is ambitious and magnanimous. He can forgive your previous offense. Zhang Linfeng tried to persuade Jiang Tian to surrender. His attitude was high and mighty, as if letting Jiang Tian serve Purple Marquis was a great favor. Jiang Tian, however, didn't say a word and already punched out. Kill. Rumble. The nascent soul inside Jiang Tian's body uttered a roar, shattering the chains of the heaven-deceiving mystic art. A terrifying aura was fired into the sky. In the next moment, the 9 revolving divine disc appeared behind Jiang Tian. It was dazzling and the 9 divine laws overlapped each other like a sun. It appeared for the first time in Saint Origin World, tens of thousands of light years away from the Milky Way. As soon as the 9 revolutions divine disc appeared, it was like an eternally running engine, providing Jiang Tian with an endless stream of terrifying power. He punched out. His fist was like a dragon, unparalleled. Clang! The forbidden area created by the 4 nascent soul cultivators was the first to bear the brunt of the attack and shattered like paper. They didn't even have time to activate their protective Dharma treasures before they were killed by Jiang Tian's fist. Their bodies, nascent souls and divine souls exploded in an instant. Glittering flesh rained, broken bones and blood spilled everywhere. Colorful pieces of divine souls and nascent souls danced in the air. Jiang Tian still didn't use any Dharma power this time. He only used Dharma laws to drive his body. It was essence chi and pure strength, but it was still terrifying. The terrifying fist energy easily penetrated their forbidden area, their bodies, and their soul energy and smashed into a 1,000-foot mountain behind them. The mountain was filled with fiend chi. There were natural rocks, mountains, and fiend chi entangled with each other. It was supposed to be indestructible, but it was still brutally broken and half of the mountain collapsed. The tens of Horus Core stage demonic beasts that were entrenched on top of it were instantly reduced to ashes. What? He's so powerful. This scene stunned everyone. The remaining 4 nascent soul stage cultivators all revealed a look of deep wariness and were on full alert. Even the cultivator with the bronze mask who was at the peak of the soul formation stage was surprised. His golden eyes behind the mask were filled with disbelief. Suddenly, he snickered and said, "Be careful. He's not Lin Yang. He's Jiang Xiqing. If that's the case, I won't pretend anymore." Jiang Tian chuckled and performed the art of deceiving the heavens. His face changed and he returned to his original appearance. His facial features were well-defined and his eyes were deep. His hair was gray and he looked gloomy with a strange charm. It's Jiang Xiqing. But he shouldn't be so powerful. Zhang Linfeng and the other 4 nascent soul cultivators were startled. It's him. Just as I thought. Even the eyes of the demon race Sir God behind the bronze mask were filled with astonishment. Even though they knew Jiang Tian was powerful, they had never thought that Jiang Tian would be so powerful. He killed 4 nascent soul cultivators with one punch as if it were a piece of cake for him. It was an instant kill. At this moment, Jiang Tian had changed in their eyes. He was originally a little white rabbit that they could casually crush to death, yet he'd suddenly transformed into a peerless ferocious beast of the primeval times that bared its fangs and brandished its claws. Zhang Linfeng used the Black Wind Law to break through space. At the last moment, he moved more than 10 miles away, barely dodging the attack. However, he was still shaken by the aftershock of Jiang Tian's fist, and his skin cracked. The deity wailed, and the surrounding space distorted. That was a sign of the laws being unstable, and he was in a sorry state. He had thought that he could easily crush Chen Fan, but he had been beaten so badly. It was a great humiliation for Zhang Linfeng to be beaten so badly by a cultivator from another galaxy. He couldn't accept it at all. "You're courting death." Zhang Linfeng's eyes flashed with incomparable resentment. His face was incomparably gloomy, and his facial features were twisted and ferocious. He wished he could eat Jiang Tian's flesh and skin, grind his bones and scatter his ashes to vent his hatred. Jiang Tian grunted lightly as he executed the 1,000 lotus flower protection technique. The gunmetal divine laws transformed into 1,000 lotus petals as a defense, and they overlapped layer upon layer and were extremely dense and dense. They protected Lin Hanqing within them, and they were seamless and impenetrable. It could even resist the attack of a peak-stage soul formation cultivator for a while. Moreover, the 1,000 lotus flower formed a world of its own, allowing Lin Hanqing to move around freely without affecting his agility. "Ever since I came to this world, I've been walking on the path of becoming immortal. I've been hiding my strength for too long and I haven't used my fists and legs. My bones are getting rusty. Today, I'll kill you all." Jiang Tian's face was as cold as iron. His calm gaze slowly released a strong murderous intent. After casting the 1,000 lotus protection art to protect Lin Hanqing, Jiang Tian finally had nothing to worry about. He could finally go all out. Boom! Jiang Tian pounced towards Zhang Linfeng and threw a punch, directly smashing a nascent soul stage cultivator in front of him into meat paste. Then, he swept his leg out like a peerless heavenly blade, cutting another nascent soul stage cultivator in half. At this moment, every punch and kick of Jiang Tian's were powerful and heavy, and they were powerful beyond compare. "I'm a soul formation cultivator and you're just a rogue cultivator. You're no match for me." Black Wind Art of Extinction. Zhang Linfeng wasn't afraid. Instead, he was stimulated by the deaths of his fellow cultivators. He shouted angrily. The life essence of a god burned, and the laws of black wind surged and gushed out. They were like great rivers that stretched across heaven and earth, lingering around his body. In an instant, black winds surged, and it was incomparably cold. It froze everything, destroyed everything, and destroyed everything. The laws of black wind quickly turned into 9 phantoms that were 1,000 feet tall and flashed out from behind Zhang Linfeng. They opened their bloody mouths and waved their arms, attacking Jiang Tian. "Be careful, Mr. Jiang!" Lin Hanqing yelled. That was Zhang Linfeng's ultimate skill and one of his most terrifying and brutal attacks. He turned into a ferocious fiend with the power of the laws of black wind, killing and destroying everything. Even a soul formation overlord would have to be careful when facing this attack. If anything went wrong, they would die. Chapter 1907. At the same time, the remaining 2 nascent soul cultivators released all their Dharma treasures and Dharma artifacts as if they didn't cost anything. Flying swords, lightning hammers, giant cauldrons, furnaces, flower baskets, precious pearls, alms bowls. There were more than 10 of them, and they were like supersonic fighter jets that emitted rumbling sounds as they tore through space and tore through the sky, charging towards Jiang Tian as if they were lightning fast. Those Dharma artifacts were basically Tao artifacts and each of them had extremely powerful Dharma powers. They came from Purple Marquis's treasury. But at this moment, all of them were released to kill Jiang Tian. After all, Jiang Tian's performance was too strong. A single mishap and they would die an unnatural death. What was the use of Dharma treasures if they lost their lives? Ah! Soul Formation Cultivator. Do you know how many soul formation cultivators like you I've killed? Jiang Tian sighed softly. He raised his right hand and slammed it down. 9 transformations of the divine plate. Once those words came out, a door seemed to have been opened. Behind him, the spinning disk that looked like a galaxy suddenly began to shine with dazzling light. It was almost like the immortal light of the eternal immortal world, causing all of the surrounding cultivators to feel ashamed of themselves and their hearts to pound in fear. Above the divine disk, the shadows of the divine rules, thick earth, lightning, vermilion bird, mysterious water, Gungjin, all lit up one by one. It was like an eternal galaxy, like the awakening of the ancient gods that created the world. They then intertwined into a ball of light and poured into Jiang Tian's spirit embryo. Boom! The moment they lit up and went in, there seemed to be invisible chains around Jiang Tian's body that were broken. An unimaginable, invincible, unreachable, and unbelievably terrifying power erupted from Jiang Tian's body. Flying swords and treasures around Jiang Tian fell, but they were bounced away by an invisible barrier before they could get 100 feet away. It was like water splashing on a glass shield and exploding in the air. Streaks of azure lightning bloomed in the air. Those were the lightning caused by the collision of Dharma laws. Jiang Tian's body suddenly expanded, becoming tens of thousands of feet tall. At this moment, his entire body seemed to be made of real gold. That golden light contained the aura of eternity, the aura of immortality of the sun and moon. It was incomparably thick and condensed, and it was far from what it was before. In the eyes of everyone, he seemed to be so tall and so huge. Every inch of his skin and every strand of his hair flickered with eternal brilliance, and they all emitted a chaotic aura that seemed capable of splitting the heavens and earth apart. Rumble. The enormous divine will spun above his head and the power of the 9 divine laws layered on Jiang Tian's body. His aura skyrocketed, breaking through the early stage of the nascent soul realm, the middle stage of the nascent soul realm, all the way to the peak stage of the nascent soul realm. This, Zhang Linfeng's law of black wind demon god, was like a chicken egg at the foot of Mount Tai in front of Jiang Tian's figure, unable to withstand a single blow and incomparably insignificant. For a moment, Zhang Linfeng and the other 2 nascent soul stage cultivators felt chills all over their bodies, as if they had fallen into a glacier at the bottom of the North Pole. Their eyes were wide open and their legs were shaking. They almost turned around and ran away. How can a mere nascent soul stage cultivator possess such a vast array of laws? He's invincible. Not even soul formation cultivators are a match for him. Strands of understanding arose in their hearts, and they instantly fell into boundless terror, trembling, and despair. This is... The eyes of the Divine Lord with the bronze mask suddenly widened. Zhang Linfeng, you've schemed against me time and time again. Most importantly, you even schemed against my daughter twice. This time, I'll destroy your power and capture you alive. I'll kill you completely in front of billions of people in the Empire. Jiang Tian lowered his head slightly. Every word he said contained Dharma laws, shaking the Grand Tao and creating lightning bolts in the air. Sound waves rolled and green thunderbolts dashed. Under Jiang Tian's voice that sounded like the Great Tao, Zhang Linfeng had burned his god, consumed his essence qi, and used all of his cultivation to perform the Black Wind extermination technique. The 9 demogorgons he had created collapsed like an avalanche, turning into powder. Crack! Zhang Linfeng was so frightened that his legs gave out. He fell to the ground from 1,000 meters in the sky like a bird with broken wings. Divine Lord, please spare my life. I'm willing to testify and expose Purple Marquis's scheme. At this moment, Zhang Linfeng was scared to the point that he lay on the ground like a toad, banging his head on the ground as he cried out with tears flowing down his face. That was terrifying. The power Jiang Tian showed was definitely much more powerful than his. Especially when Jiang Tian performed the 9 transformations of the divine plate and melted the 9 divine laws into the chaotic divine laws. He felt a power that seemed to be able to split the world. It was a power that was far more powerful than his. They weren't even on the same level. It was like an ant facing a human, or a mortal facing a real god. He felt that he was small, weak and useless. An instinctive fear from the bottom of his heart completely grasped his body. Even a god couldn't resist, he only wanted to surrender. His roar is so terrifying. That's terrifying. Divine Lord, we surrender. The other two nascent soul cultivators also fell to the ground at the same time. They trembled and spat out blood, but there was a hint of green in the blood. It was apparently bile. The two nascent soul cultivators were scared out of their wits. At this moment, the entire Zwolwang Peak, within a radius of 10,000 miles, was dead silent. Countless monsters that were hiding in the dark were originally fierce and cruel. But at this moment, all of them were lying on the ground with their heads on the ground and trembling. The Divine Lord with the bronze mask narrowed his golden eyes and a cold light shot out of his eyes. Monstrous monster aura and murderous intent surged out slowly, as if they could destroy the world. Ha! Interesting. Jiang Xiqing, I'll kill you. Suddenly, the bronze-masked divine sovereign chuckled. Every word he uttered shook the heavens and the moon as he attacked. However, he didn't attack Jiang Tian, but Zhang Linfeng. Go to hell. Divine Lord Qi Ling, who was wearing a bronze mask, took out a black saber and slashed at Zhang Linfeng without saying a word. The saber tore the sky apart. Zhang Linfeng was just a spy for Purple Marquis. He was nothing to the pantheon of monsters, which was full of soul formation cultivators. Divine Lord Qi Ling didn't attack personally because he wanted to let them exhaust Jiang Tian's Dharma power and expose Jiang Tian's power and trump cards. It was like a team killing monsters in a game. The monsters were strong and the tank was the first to attack. He knew his trump cards, so of course, he would save them for last. Zhang Linfeng's death wasn't a big deal. However, he was an important person who was related to Purple Marquis. If he fell into Jiang Tian's hands and was handed over to the royal family would have a good reputation. That would be tantamount to giving the royal family a tainted witness, obtaining evidence of Marquis Purple Robe attacking the feudal lords and plotting rebellion. Marquis Purple Robe would instantly fall into a passive position. Purple Marquis was still useful to Divine Lord Qi Ling and the others. They had to protect him. The monster clan was ferocious and Sir God Qi Ling was an almighty with many years of experience. He could be said to be an ambitious and ruthless figure. He was resolute, decisive and ruthless. He went all the way and killed Zhang Linfeng to cut off the chain of evidence. Chapter 1908. So ruthless. You want to kill me? At that moment, Zhang Linfeng's face turned pale and there was a pungent smell between his legs. Even ants would drag out their lives, let alone humans. Jiang Tian had only captured Zhang Linfeng and asked him to be a witness. He might have had a chance to redeem himself and live. But Sir God Qi Ling had killed him directly. Kill. Within a 100-mile radius, there were tens of thousands of ferocious demonic beasts. Among them, there were more than 100 original infant realm demonic beasts who had transformed. Every one of them was on par with Zhang Linfeng. There were even 5 almighties in the early stage of divine transformation realm. They roared at the same time and soared to the sky from all directions. Then, they pounced on Jiang Tian. In an instant, the earth shook and the mountains shook. Murderous cries filled the sky. Billowing demonic aura ran through the universe like a long river. The terrifying murderous aura shook the sky. Countless figures of ferocious demonic beasts, magic treasures and rules attacked Jiang Tian from all directions like meteorites. It was as though they could shatter the firmament and sink the land. A bunch of 4-legged beasts and feathered birdmen. You want to kill me? Facing this attack that was enough to destroy the world, Jiang Tian's expression was extremely calm. He lowered his head and flicked his finger. With a bang, Sir God Qi Ling's saber shadow exploded in the air. Then, he stretched out his hand and grabbed. It was as though he had transformed into a god who ruled over the universe. Everything in the universe, including the great ways, was under his control. He was omniscient, omnipotent and meticulous. Zhang Linfeng only felt that the scenery in front of his eyes was rapidly changing, the world was spinning, and he was actually caught by Jiang Tian in an instant, brought to the front, and casually thrown into the already open Thousand Lotus. It's open. The first kill belongs to me. A soul formation stage feathered serpent demon saw the Thousand Lotus flower open and thought that it had found an opportunity. A human-like sinister smile appeared on its face as its body swayed and it reverted to its original form. It flapped its pair of fleshy wings and swooped down like a crossbow. It opened its bloody mouth and dived toward the Thousand Lotus flower. Bang, bang, bang. Zhang Linfeng and Lin Hanqing attacked at the same time. They used the law of black wind and the purple cloud palm, but they couldn't do anything to Quetzalcoatl at all. Instead, they were forced to retreat and spit out blood. Unexpectedly, the Thousand Lotus flower suddenly closed. Creak. The feathered serpent demon's head, which was like a millstone, suddenly fell to the ground. Blood spurted out, and its pair of monstrous vertical pupils stared at the two of them with resentment. Its mouth slowly opened and closed. Hee, dead. This golden lotus is amazing. Zhang Linfeng was stunned. He looked at the head of the winged serpent demon and revealed a relieved smile. Then, he looked at Lin Hanqing. Suddenly, killing intent bloomed in his eyes and a malicious smile appeared on his face. He suddenly took a few steps forward and the laws of black wind around him surged. Suddenly, the temperature inside the Thousand Lotus flower plummeted. The snake demon's blood instantly froze into ice crystals like agate. Its head was covered with a layer of white frost, as if it had just been taken out of the freezer. Taoist Linfeng, don't be rash. How would you know if Mr. Jiang would wipe out the demon race's divine sovereign as well? Be careful that he doesn't settle accounts with you later. I want to see if Mr. Jiang is testing you. Cold sweat rolled down Lin Hanqing's forehead like a waterfall. He flung his sleeves and said with a proud expression. Marquis, what are you talking about? You must be joking. Purple Marquis is cruel and ruthless. He is definitely not a good master. I have already come to my senses and abandoned the darkness for the light. Thinking of Jiang Tian's power, Zhang Linfeng felt a chill in his heart. He was a little uncertain about the outcome of this fierce battle. His killing intent receded like a tide. He put on a flattering smile and cupped his hands. Marquis has Mr. Jiang's help. Purple Marquis is no match for Marquis. He is like an ant trying to shake a tree. I am willing to sacrifice my life to protect Marquis. I only hope that Marquis can say a few good words to Mr. Jiang in the future and save my life. Of course, of course. Humans are not sages. How can they not make mistakes? Lin Hanqing hurriedly agreed, but he was secretly on his guard. Bang! 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 Suddenly, an earth-shattering explosion came from outside. The two of them were startled and quickly looked outside with their immortal will. They saw that Jiang Tian had already retracted his Dharma form and turned into a middle-aged cultivator in an azure robe with white hair and a pair of deep and calm eyes. Jiang Tian crashed into the battle array formed by 10,000 monsters like Gonggong crashing into Mount Buzhou. Countless monsters, including the nascent soul beasts in human form, exploded into blood mist in the sky. Countless broken limbs fell like rain. The next moment, Jiang Tian performed the speed of the Kunpeng and turned into a bright golden dragon-shaped curve. He soared into the sky and landed behind a soul formation realm demon lord of the Iron Scorpion at an unbelievable angle. Without saying a word, he slapped the demon lord's head. Azure thunder exploded and poured down like an ocean, completely covering the demon lord. Thunderbolts were the best at suppressing evils. The sturdy body of the demon lord of the Iron Scorpion race, which could withstand thousands of nuclear explosions, was directly blasted apart by the lightning. Even his physical body, venom, and god were turned into flying ashes. Even a wisp of remnant soul didn't manage to escape in time and exploded. The second soul formation realm demon lord of the monster race had died. And yet, that was only the beginning. Jiang Tian turned into the Kunpeng and performed extremely fast. He flapped his wings and seemed to be able to travel across the universe. He dodged countless attacks from Dharma treasures and even Divine Lord Qi Ling's slash. Then, he appeared behind another soul formation realm demon lord of the pantheon of monsters. Divine Lord, please spare my life. Divine Lord, you are powerful and unpredictable. This old man can introduce you to the Monster King and work together. That soul formation realm demon lord was scared out of his wits and shouted. But it was too late. Jiang Tian was expressionless and his eyes were cold. He formed the purple thunder blade and slashed at the soul formation realm demon lord, turning his body, Dharma treasures and armor into ashes. The third divine lord of the monster race of the pantheon of monsters had died. Then, Jiang Tian performed the Kunpeng divine law again and appeared in front of the fourth divine lord of the monster race, as if he had traveled between two worlds. He then performed the red bird divine law without saying a word and formed an ocean of fire, burning the divine lord of the monster race with the bloodline of the ice dragon into ashes. After that, Jiang Tian performed the earth dragon law and summoned 3 mountains 500 miles away. Each of the mountains was heavy and carried the Dharma laws and grand Tao of that world. They weighed more than billions of tons and were strong enough to destroy a magnificent city like Jianghan City. They fell from the sky like meteorites. Boom! Screams of agony filled the sky, one after another. The sea of blood surged, and severed limbs were strewn across the void. The ground was littered with corpses, and the 1,000-foot ravine was filled with blood and corpses. Countless demons had died an unnatural death, and the world was filled with the pungent smell of blood. It had completely turned into hell. Swish! 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 Many nascent soul cultivators turned into beams of light and ran away, even abandoning their bodies and Dharma treasures. They screamed in fear and begged for mercy, "Please, Divine Lord. The assassination of the pantheon of monsters has nothing to do with me. I was just passing by. Divine Lord, just kill Divine Lord Qi Ling. Why do you have to care about a small fry like me?" "Right. Sir God Qi Ling forced me to kill you. Otherwise, he would wipe out my entire family. I was forced to do so." Seeing how powerful Jiang Tian was and how cruel he was, the remaining soul formation realm demon wanted to retreat. He rolled his eyes and retreated far away, as if he were ready to run away at any time. The ambush that Divine Lord Qi Ling had set up was completely destroyed. More than half of his troops were killed. It was a great loss. "Jiang Xiqing, fight with me one-on-one if you are capable. What are you if you don't dare to fight with me face to face?" Divine Lord Qi Ling was exasperated when he saw that. He couldn't stand it and shouted. Chapter 1909. Divine Lord Qi Ling was a famous grand cultivator of the monster race in the entire empire. None of the lords would dare to fight against him. He wasn't any weaker than Fang Jinlong, the pillar of the empire. And yet, he had suffered a great loss because of Jiang Tian, a nobody and a rogue cultivator outside the galaxy. How could he be willing to accept that? He was one of the 4 guardians of the pantheon of monsters and he was much more powerful than the other soul formation cultivators. The heavenly punishment blade in his hand was also extremely strange. He was confident that it could even break the bodies of peak-stage soul formation cultivators and half-saints. However, Jiang Tian used the advantage of the Kunpeng's extreme speed and avoided him from the beginning to the end. He didn't even pay attention to him, so he couldn't even catch up with him. He could only watch Jiang Tian kill all the generals under his command. "All right, do you want to die?" "As you wish." Jiang Tian laughed and faced Divine Lord Qi Ling. "Great. Humans are cunning and they only know how to play tricks. This time, you have a bit of our demon race's heroic and unruly demeanor." Divine Lord Qi Ling exclaimed, seeming to be quite proud of his monster bloodline. Then, he swung his black blade. The black blood dissipating divine saber in his hand instantly buzzed and let out a dim black light. Demon aura enveloped Sir God Qi Ling in it. It was apparently a peerless Tao weapon, only half a step away from becoming a sacred weapon. A saint of the monster race had made it with the divine fiend blood steel, deep inside the fiend Qi cracks 10,000 years ago. It was said that the blood of a divine fiend had been sprinkled on a mountain and turned into steel. After it was made into a weapon, it was extremely powerful and extremely sharp. It carried a bit of fiend Qi and a bit of divine fiend power, which could kill soul formation cultivators. Rise! At this moment, Jiang Tian's eyes became deep and boundless, as if he was an ancient god that created the world. He suddenly let out a soft shout. There were clouds and mist above his head and chaotic qi shot to the sky, forming 3 giant flowers that went straight to the sky. Of the 3 flowers, one was pitch black like a black hole, one was 5-colored, and one was flickering with golden light. They all took form and rose higher and higher. Every single one of them was 50 kilometers wide, like a huge cloud. His body, dharma laws, and soul energy were pushed to the peak. The tricolored flame burned brightly around Qin Fan. What is this? Inside the 1,000 lotuses, Lin Hanqing and Zhang Linfeng's pupils contracted. Their faces were filled with shock as if they had seen a ghost in broad daylight. 3 flowers at one's prominence? Could he be a return to Void Stage great sage? The remaining divine monarch of the demon clan was so scared that his face turned ashen. He shivered and slid 100 miles away. He activated all the magical treasures he had with him to protect himself. He's not a return to Void Stage great sage. He's only a nascent soul stage cultivator, but that's the limit of the nascent soul stage. Both his nascent soul's cultivation level and grade were extremely high. Peak nascent soul, and most likely, an immortal grade nascent soul. Sir God Qi Ling was an experienced almighty. He had been through hundreds of battles and he was knowledgeable. He could tell the significance of the 3 flowers at one's prominence at a glance. Instantly, his face turned stern and his pupils shrank to the size of a needle tip. His body tensed up and he was alarmed. An unprecedented sense of danger rose in him. Throughout history, sacred-grade nascent soul cultivators were considered geniuses in the world and there might not even be one in 1,000 years. A immortal-grade nascent soul was a legendary existence. It was ethereal and extremely difficult to form, like a true dragon in the sky. Since no immortal-grade nascent soul cultivators had ever appeared in the Saint Origin world, no one knew the real power of an immortal-grade nascent soul cultivator. And yet, according to some ancient records, the power of a immortal-grade nascent soul cultivator could be summed up in a word. It could suppress a soul formation cultivator. Then, seeing that Jiang Tian might have a immortal-grade nascent soul cultivator, Sir God Qi Ling immediately felt like he had cursed countless monsters and humans. Purple Marquis, that idiot. He's messing with me. Immortal-grade nascent souls are rare in the Saint Origin world. If Jiang Xiqing is just a rogue cultivator, how could she have one? Purple Marquis must have gotten the information wrong. That bastard. When the Monster King's plan is complete, the first person I'll kill is Purple Marquis. While Sir God Qi Ling was cursing in his mind, his divine treasures also shook. The god with the head of a Qilin and the body of a Qilin looked up to the sky and roared. He held the demon blade of heavenly punishment and earthly annihilation tightly with both hands and pushed his vast power to the extreme. His energy soared into the clouds and shook the sky as if it would never stop. Clang! Jiang Tian didn't say anything and threw a punch. That punch was simple and natural, like the grandpas on earth who practiced Tai Chi in the park. It was light and didn't carry the slightest murderous energy. However, its power was earth-shattering. Unimaginable. Boom. Between heaven and earth, space shattered, mountains and rivers shattered, and chaos roared. It was as if the sun and moon were hanging upside down, and the earth, fire, water, and wind were reenacting. Countless dazzling energy waves and god-law power surged within 1,000 miles. The power of that punch was so shocking that it was beyond everyone's imagination. It was as if an ancient god had thrown a punch. Rumble. There were countless explosions in the air. That was the sound of the Dharma and Great Tao in the space collapsing. Countless nascent soul realm demons who couldn't dodge in time didn't even have time to scream before they were turned into blood mist. A huge fist mark was formed in the void. It was filled with chaotic chi, dark and misty. The fist mark flashed across the sky and went towards the Qilin 100 miles away. That punch is so terrifying. The divine lord of the monster race who had run 100 miles away trembled in fear and screamed. He killed 4 soul formation cultivators and countless nascent soul cultivators and golden core cultivators with his nascent soul level. Is God helping Purple Marquis and the Dongfang royal family? Countless monster race cultivators cried out in horror, their eyes trembling as if they had lost their parents. Is he still human? Zhang Linfeng's body shook in disbelief. When he first met Jiang Tian was covered in dust and his clothes were old. He didn't take him seriously at all, and even his son, Zhang Muyun, dared to provoke him. But then, the power Jiang Tian showed was beyond his imagination. He was able to kill soul formation cultivators and mid-stage soul formation cultivators with ease when he was only a peak-stage nascent soul cultivator. That had completely overturned his worldview. That was too terrifying. Thinking of that, Zhang Linfeng was also frightened and cold sweat rolled down his back like a waterfall. Mr. Jiang was obviously pretending to be weak to lure the enemy in, and his target was Purple Marquis. If he hadn't been so calculative and turned hostile on the spot in his rage, how could she and her son bear his anger? They would probably have been smashed into meat paste on the spot. A deity-grade nascent soul cultivator. It really won't be like what we guessed before. He's not a cultivator from outside the galaxy, but a reincarnated grand cultivator from the deity realm in 9 heavens. Lin Hanqing's eyes were full of reverence as this thought appeared in his mind again. After Jiang Tian came to the Lin family, he improved the little princess's 9 yin body and achieved the balance of yin and yang, pushing her to the nascent soul level. He threw out a pill formula casually and made the ancient medicine hall treat him like a guest of honor. In just 4 months, he pushed Lin Hanqing to the soul formation level and Lin Yang to the golden core level and half a step away from the nascent soul level. He changed the purple cloud palm, Eastern Emperor finger and his main cultivation arts, turning something rotten into something magical. He even used the 12 divine sounds of Langhuan to break the eldest princess's inner demon. Each and every one of these things could be said to be miracles and miracles. It was unbelievable. Lin Hanqing thought of many explanations in private, but the most unbelievable one was that Jiang Tian was the reincarnation of a deity from the deity realm in 9 heavens. Otherwise, he wouldn't have such amazing vision and insight. And now, Jiang Tian had displayed the power of a deity-grade nascent soul with the 3 flowers at one's prominence and showed his trump card, which made him even more convinced of this speculation. Whether Jiang Tian's deity-grade nascent soul was born or cultivated, it was impossible outside the central galaxy or even in the divine origin world. It could only be in the deity realm in 9 heavens or the 9 celestial sects in the central galaxy. Chapter 1910. Although Lin Hanqing felt that this guess of his was inconceivable and unbelievable, if it wasn't so, then it was simply impossible to explain everything that had happened to Jiang Tian. Mr. Jiang is already at the peak of the nascent soul realm. I'm afraid he's not far from becoming a soul formation cultivator. He's already able to kill a soul formation cultivator as a nascent soul realm cultivator. If he becomes a soul formation cultivator, he'll be able to defeat a void return saint. By then, he won't be able to dominate the Eastern Empire. He'll be a peerless giant in the entire saint origin world. Lin Hanqing's body trembled as he thought of this. He was both terrified and overjoyed. The power of a void return saint. There weren't many of them even in the superior holy grounds and holy sects. He could totally surpass this continent and be famous in the Star Ocean. But he's the foreign elder of the Lin family. What do I have to be afraid of? I can even sit on the throne of the Dongfang family, let alone the Marquis of Purple Robe. Jiang Xiqing, you're indeed powerful. But you've underestimated my demonic saber and the power of a peak soul formation cultivator. Sir God Qi-Ling shouted, and his eyes were filled with murderous intent. He held the heavenly punishment demonic saber in his hand and slashed in the void, leaving many black saber marks. Those saber marks twisted and spun. They didn't disappear. Instead, they gave off an evil light as if they were real. Demonic qi intertwined and formed a creepy net. It was indeed made of divine demon blood steel, and it was full of strange power. Clang! The power of the punch hit the demonic qi saber net in an instant. Under the invincible chaotic fist force, the demonic qi saber net couldn't withstand a single blow. It was as fragile as silk and disappeared instantly. How is this possible? Break! Sir God Qi-Ling couldn't believe it. He roared and held his saber with both hands. With the original form of the demon saber, he slashed at the chaotic fist force. But it didn't stop the chaotic fist force at all. The next moment, under countless gazes of disbelief, Sir God Qi-Ling couldn't take it anymore. He spat out blood and retreated. Then, he was punched into Zhuowang Peak. There was another earthquake and the mountain shook. He broke through a few mountain peaks and there were mushroom clouds that looked like nuclear explosions. He only stopped when he was 100 miles away. He lost just like that. He's one of the guardians of the myriad monsters palace, Sir God Qi-Ling. Yeah, how is that possible? At this moment, many demons were in disbelief. They felt as if their world was collapsing. The 4 grand guardians of the pantheon of demons were invincible enough to suppress the feudal lords of the Imperium. They were only second to the demon emperor. But he couldn't even block Jiang Tian's punch. And it was under the premise of using the supreme devil blade? This is too weak. Congratulations, Marquis. With such a powerful backer, our Eastern Empire is going to have a new master. Zhang Linfeng beamed with joy and congratulated Lin Hanqing like a servant. Nonsense. Do you want to lose your head? Lin Hanqing's expression changed drastically upon hearing this. He flung his sleeves and reprimanded sternly, how can the Eastern Empire change its master? That would forever belong to the Eastern Imperial family. With a peerless scholar like Mr. Jiang protecting him, His Majesty's throne will be even more stable. Yes, I was muddle-headed. What Master Ho said made sense. Mr. Jiang is like a pillar of the nation. With Mr. Jiang around, the Eastern Empire will be safe. Zhang Linfeng hurriedly bowed and admitted his mistake. But in his heart, he didn't think so. The tree wants to be quiet, but the wind won't stop. It's not that the Emperor won't mess with you just because you're loyal. When he used you to fight Marquis Zishan, you were naturally in high demand. However, would Crown Prince Dong Fangding sit by and do nothing about Lin Yang and Fang Goyu's marriage? You're so close to the second prince. Would he raise a tiger? The day you kill the Purple Marquis will be the day you, Lin Hanqing, meet your end. At that time, you'll have to rebel. Boom! At this time, the earth exploded and the mountain collapsed. Sir God Qi-Ling broke out of the mountain with his saber. He was also in a mess. The wide sleeves of his robe were torn and tattered, revealing the armor that was shining with a metallic luster and covered with scales. If it weren't for this mysterious armor, he would have been smashed into meat paste by Jiang Tian. Jiang Xiqing, how dare you hurt me? I'll fight you to the death. Sir God Qi-Ling looked around and saw that there were countless casualties and he was in such a miserable state. He roared furiously and his voice was filled with endless viciousness and murderous intent. His aura surged and he suddenly broke through the middle stage of soul formation and entered the late stage of soul formation, reaching the peak. Everyone thought. There seemed to be a fiend's sun in the sky, which was filled with endless oppression and intimidation. Again. Jiang Tian didn't dare to use the sky-crushing sword and the chaotic source cauldron. The immortal emperor had infused them with the Dharma power of the deity realm. Although they were powerful, they would be exposed instantly. So, he shouted and raised his hand to summon a mountain. He picked up the mountain and threw it at Sir God Qiling. At that very moment, Sir God Qiling had truly displayed the terrifying cultivation of a peak of divine transformation realm. The demon saber in his hand moved freely and the saber light was sharp. It tore the sky apart. When he swung his saber, there was a pitch-black demon aura. It actually shattered the 10,000 zhang tall mountain that Jiang Tian had thrown out. Boom, boom, boom. Jiang Tian continuously used his Dharma power to summon 7 to 8 mountains, but they were all shattered by Sir God Qiling's saber. At this moment, Jiang Tian also felt irritated and depressed in his heart. If he were to use his most powerful Dharma treasures, the sky-crushing sword and the chaotic source cauldron, Sir God Qiling definitely wouldn't be able to take one blow from him. But then, he didn't know about the immortal emperor's plan and he was on guard. To avoid being noticed, he could only give up his Dharma treasures and fight with his Dharma power. Clang, clang, clang. Jiang Tian either summoned mountains or blocked the fiend's saber with his bare hands. In a split second, he exchanged blows with Sir God Qiling several times. The ground sank, the mountains and rivers collapsed and the sky seemed to be torn apart. He wasn't weaker. However, there was a red mark on his right hand. The fiend aura principle was like maggots that invaded his body and he used the vermilion bird divine law to burn it. Ignorant kid, you overestimate yourself. You are so arrogant that you blocked my fiend's saber with your bare hands. You don't know that this saber was refined by a void-returned sage of the monster clan. Not many people in the entire empire or even the entire continent can match it. I will definitely kill you. Sir God Qiling laughed complacently. 3 punches. I will kill you. Although the fiend aura principle had been wiped out, Jiang Tian was still furious. He gave up on the mountains and stretched out his fists. He was like a crane dancing in the sky, a dragon coiling around a pillar, a bow full of strings and a blooming lotus. The aura of chaos was either dim or bright. It burst out from Jiang Tian's fists and broke the void. It collided with Sir God Qiling's fiend saber. Bam! Sir God Qiling was forced to retreat again. He looked at Jiang Tian's hands in shock. When he saw that Jiang Tian was unharmed after blocking the heavenly punishment demonic exterminating saber, he couldn't help but exclaim, what kind of punching skill is this? How can you block my saber with your body? You don't deserve to know. Jiang Tian's purple eyes were filled with murderous intent. Chapter 1911. The Second Punch. Jiang Tian broke the air with his fists and countless golden rings appeared. Jiang Tian had pushed the Eternal Universe Divine Fist, the most powerful fist art of the Hanyu Celestial Sect. That was the fist art that the Hanyu Celestial Sect relied on to dominate the universe. Jiang Tian was only able to show a bit of its power after reaching the peak of the nascent soul level, but it was still extremely terrifying. Boom! At that moment, the Dharma laws and Daos in the world let out a cry under Jiang Tian's golden rings. The air was cracked by Jiang Tian's fists. Divine Lord Qiling wasn't as powerful as Jiang Tian to begin with, so he couldn't withstand the Eternal Universe Divine Fist either. Boom, boom, boom. After a few punches, even the black blade of the fiend blade let out a buzzing sound, as if it couldn't withstand Jiang Tian's fists and its artifact spirit wanted to run away. Impossible. How can your fists be harder than my blade? Divine Lord Qiling couldn't imagine it. The fiend blade was said to be able to kill soul formation cultivators and injure saints. Had that guy's body already reached the level of a void-returned saint? If so, Jiang Xiqing should have crushed all living beings and defeated thousands of enemies. She should have stood at the top of this continent and looked down on thousands of races. Why was she still fighting with them? She was a true dragon, but she was living in the small quagmire of the Eastern Empire and living in Fatherlin. Was there something wrong with her? Boom! Jiang Tian's fist punched out. It was like an antelope hanging its horn, untraceable. From an inconceivable angle, it brought with it boundless power to smash apart the demonic blade, and a fist smashed into his chest. Poof! even though Divine Lord Qi Ling was powerful, his body was much weaker. He was immediately knocked away by Jiang Tian and he spurted out a mouthful of blood. Crack, crack. Many of his ribs were broken. If it weren't for the scale armor on his body, he would have exploded on the spot. However, Divine Lord Qi Ling laughed smugly and grunted. You want to kill me with 3 punches? What are you bragging about? Are you going to kill me? Next, I can kill you with a raise of my hand. Your life is in my hands. Jiang Tian stepped into the air and retreated 10 li. He placed his hands behind his back and said with a cold grin, do you know what this punch is called? What? Eternal Universe Chaos, Fist of Time, Impermanence. Jiang Tian said indifferently. What? Fist of Time. Qi Ling was stunned and confused. Time was formless. Time flowed between heaven and earth like water. It annihilated Buddhas, immortals and gods, extinguished stars, and bid farewell to the universe. How many powerful figures were there? How many things seemed to be eternal? In the end, they were defeated by time and disappeared into the illusory river of time. Sir God Qi Ling saw the sparkling waves. He only had time to retreat 3 meters before he was swallowed by time. Everything in heaven and earth, stars, universe, Taoist skills, martial arts, and everything in the world were born because of fate and changed because of fate. If it couldn't be eternal, it would be destroyed in the end. It was the impermanence of the world, the real immutable state. Stars would turn into black holes and the black holes would be destroyed along with the universe. The universe was boundless. If one didn't master the mystery of the high-level void and relied on speed, even if one was a deity, a Buddha, an immortal, or a saint, one wouldn't be able to cross the universe. Even if he spent his entire life, he would never be able to cross it. However, even such a universe could not escape impermanence. That was the 8th move of Eternal Universe Punch, impermanence. Without a sound or breath. The passing of time and the impermanence of time met and the surroundings seemed to be frozen. Sir God Qi Ling could only see pictures that appeared and disappeared strangely. Then, his senses seemed to have been lost. 3,000 years ago, the Eastern Empire had been established. However, it was ruled by the ancestor of the royal family, Dong Fang Run. At that time, the demons were in chaos. Demon aura was everywhere and many demonic beasts were stirring up trouble everywhere. At that time, the sects, dukes, and the royal family stood side by side. The sects were high and mighty. The cultivators in the sects were like immortals who lived outside the world. They didn't listen to the orders of the empire. Dong Fang Run united the cultivators of the sects, dukes, and heroes to kill the demonic beasts. For a time, the demons were defeated and expelled. Their territories were occupied. They were in a precarious situation and had to flee for their lives. It was said that there was a mysterious passage in the critical canyon that connected the demon realm and the saint origin world. Demons and demons often appeared there. Therefore, the royal family, dukes, and sects wouldn't easily touch this place. Under a few strange trees that were polluted by demon aura, a young black Qilin beast was sleeping soundly. It was the size of a small pig. Suddenly, it stood up and looked around in confusion. A few thoughts appeared in its mind. Who am I? Where am I? Ling, don't be afraid. We have escaped to the critical canyon. We are safe. A female Qilin that had yet to take human form but had a gold core cultivation base was covered in scars. Her scales had fallen off, and her eyes revealed a human-like benevolent light. She gently licked the young Qilin, and it was a beautiful scene of a mother licking her calf. Mother! The young Qilin was shocked. Many memories came back. He was the divine transformation realm monarch Qilin, one of the 4 guardians of the demon emperor and a giant of the myriad demons palace. Under the order of the demon emperor, he cooperated with the Marquis of Purple Robe, killed Lin Hanqing, and overturned the Eastern royal family. Unexpectedly, he met Jiang Xiqing and was punched by her. How did he appear here? Did he go back 3,000 years? Did he fall into the memory illusion, or did he go back to the past and start all over again? The young monarch Qilin calmed himself down. He found that he had nothing except memories and a shrewd state of mind. He didn't have the cultivation that he was proud of. He also didn't have the spiritual cultivation that he had tempered thousands of times. Even his spirit couldn't penetrate the primal aperture at mid-brows. How could his hallucination be so realistic? Or was he really reborn? The young Qilin frowned. His last impression was that he used the devil blade to fight against Jiang Xiqing's time fist. According to Jiang Xiqing's words, was he really sent back to the past and became reborn, as the storyteller said? If he were to start all over again, he would definitely do better than before. At least he wouldn't be walking on the edge of a cliff, barely holding on by relying on the demon emperor and vaguely seeing the dawn of overthrowing the Eastern royal family. It's possible to make someone go back to the past temporarily. But to make someone really reborn in the past and rewrite history, it's really unimaginable. At the very least, it has to be a powerful figure in the nine heavens celestial world who is proficient in time techniques, right? Jiang Xiqing, an overseas rogue cultivator who doesn't even have a doctrine artifact, is so powerful. The more the young monarch Qilin thought, the more confused he became. However, he quickly sorted out his thoughts. 100 miles away from here, there's the corpse of the unparalleled demon emperor. Beside it, there's the devil blade of heavenly punishment and the supreme demon cultivation technique. In my previous life, I got it by chance 100 years later. In this life, I'll go to the corpse to get the technique and the devil blade. In this life, I'll cultivate 100 years earlier. With the foresight of my rebirth, I'll definitely be able to reach the peak of soul formation or even void return and become a saint within 1,000 years. I can even suppress the demon emperor Han Guang. Humph, the Eastern Empire will be even more vulnerable. My father's death can be avenged, and my imperial ambitions can be accomplished. Mother, protect me. I know a place with treasures. Sir God Qiling was still resolute. Thinking about that, he spoke in human language and immediately identified the direction. Then, he ran far away with his 4 short legs. Suddenly, his vision changed and he saw a shocking scene. The water rippled in front of him and a shimmering passage was formed as if the door of time had been opened. A middle-aged cultivator with deep facial features and cold eyes walked out of the passage with his hands behind his back. His hair was white and his hands were behind his back. He seemed to have traveled through 3,000 years. Jiang Xiqing. Chapter 1912. Sir God Qiling seemed to have understood something. He was so frightened that the scales on his body were quivering and making rustling noises. Spare me this time. I am willing to surrender. Sir God Qiling went back to 3,000 years ago. When he was young, he had lost all his cultivation. When he faced Jiang Tian, who was at his peak, he couldn't resist and could only surrender. It's too late. Jiang Tian looked calm and pointed with his finger. Bang! Sir God Qiling's body exploded and flesh rained down. Only an extremely weak remnant soul was left and it floated in the air, disintegrating into nothingness. No matter how Sir God Qiling's mother cried and attacked him crazily, Jiang Tian's eyes were emotionless. It was as though he was high up in the sky. He captured Sir God Qiling's soul casually. Then, he moved his consciousness and found the location of demon doctrine. He extended his hand and grabbed it. Then, without saying anything, he turned around and entered the gate of time. What kind of divine power is this? He turned Sir God Qiling into his original form and even made him smaller. It's as though time is flowing backward. Could it be related to the rule of time? Lin Hanqing and Zhang Linfeng, who were in Thousand Lotuses, were astonished and dumbfounded. From their point of view, after Jiang Tian had hit Sir God Qiling, although he was seriously injured, it was definitely not fatal. Hence, there was still a chance for him to turn the tables. Then, a passageway that looked like water ripples formed abruptly. The passageway was spinning and the walls were flowing like clear spring water. At the same time, it was as though time was spinning unpredictably. In the passageway, Sir God Chi Ling's tall body kept shrinking. His Taoist robe, armor and the magic weapons that he wore scattered in all directions. The scene behind him also changed rapidly. Then, he turned from a human into his original form of a Qilin. The Qilin kept shrinking and in the end, he turned into a young Qilin. Then, the scene stabilized. Everything happened in the blink of an eye. However, the two of them felt that the growth of a civilization, the cycle of the sun and the moon, the birth and death of the void, and even the destruction of the universe were all completed in the blink of an eye. After that, they saw Jiang Tian step into the tunnel, and he pointed with his finger calmly. Then, the young Sir God Chi Ling exploded. When Jiang Tian exited the passage of time, he waved his hand and the 1,000 lotus flower dispersed. It turned into gunmetal celestial law and surged into Jiang Tian's body. Only then did the two of them regain their senses and walked behind Jiang Tian while trembling. "Mr. Qin, your punch just now," Lin Hanqing asked with trepidation. Impermanence is a great divine ability that involves the incomparably profound laws of time. Even though I'm only at the nascent soul stage and can't control the laws of time, as long as I can simulate a sliver of it, I'll be able to reverse the flow of time by 3,000 years. Although it's just a few flicks of the fingers, it's enough to kill him. At this moment, all the demons had retreated. The area within 100 miles around the Messiswo Wang Peak was dead silent. Jiang Tian had returned to his normal calm state. His tone was calm and indifferent. But in the ears of Lin Hanqing and Li Qiye, it was like thunder ringing in their ears. They were scared out of their wits and couldn't believe it. Time was the supreme law and grand Tao. Even if a deity went through the tribulation and ascended to heaven to become a real deity, he might not be able to control it. And yet, Jiang Tian was only at the nascent soul stage, but he had already touched it. That was unbelievable. It felt as if a 3-year-old had solved a math problem that had troubled humans for 10,000 years. That's unbelievable. If 3,000 years of time were cut off, wouldn't a soul formation grand cultivator in the prime of his life become old and dying instantly? He can kill him with one slash. That's terrifying. I'm afraid he's really the reincarnation of a deity in heaven. He can control such a grand divine power that involves the mysteries of time. At that moment, Jiang Tian's image suddenly changed in the eyes of Lin Hanqing and Qin Haodong. It was as if he was a deity who stood above the 9 heavens and looked down on all the worlds, which made them tremble and admire him. "Let's go." Jiang Tian flicked the demon blade of heaven and earth with a hint of relief in his eyes. Although the blade couldn't be compared with the heavenly sword tripod, it was still a powerful Taoist artifact. He was at the nascent soul stage now, so it was quite convenient for him to use it. The point was that it didn't contain the deity Qi of the Immortal Lord, so he didn't have to worry about the Immortal Lord noticing it. "Mr. Jiang, where are we going?" Zhang Linfeng asked respectfully while trembling with fear. "To the Black Stone Forest, of course, to meet with the Lin family." "What about Miss Lin Dyer and the ancestral patriarch of the Lin family?" Zhang Linfeng worriedly said. Right now, he was completely subdued by Jiang Tian and became a witness. Naturally, he had to think about Jiang Tian and Lin Hanqing. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to keep his life. "Don't worry. Nothing will happen. If nothing unexpected happens, it will be over soon. However, I hope that the past me won't run amok and tarnish my name." Jiang Tian's divine intent sensed the two avatars and leisurely said. "The wide sea allows the fish to jump, the high sky allows the birds to fly. Without the real body and Tao me to suppress, your father is having a great time." Whoosh whoosh. The past me Jiang Tian laughed and broke through space. One step was 1,000 miles. Like the wind and lightning, he quickly crossed half of the kingdom and arrived at the Eastern Gorge territory. He was getting closer and closer to the 100 Flowers Peak, the evil-infested ridge, and the Grand Canyon. With the past me Jiang Tian's journey, there were more and more different types of demonic beasts. These demonic beasts were different from the demonic beasts in other places. They were filled with demonic aura and were ferocious. They could be called quasi-demonic beasts or ferocious beasts. Their bodies were covered with black scales. Their mouths spewed out demonic flames, poisonous gas, and black water. They were like demonic gods from hell. When they attacked, demonic and demonic auras intertwined and surged. This demonic aura could even contaminate the magic power of cultivators. The entire Duke of Eastern Gorge's territory was a grand city that spanned across the land. It was reinforced and protected by countless powerful array formations, making it incomparably sturdy. It was like a giant city of steel, firmly keeping these vicious beasts at bay and protecting mortals and cultivators. The Grand Canyon was originally connected to the Devil World's fragment. That generation of demonic beasts was contaminated by demonic aura. Their potential was stimulated and they were the strongest. Their habits were also the most ferocious. The past Mi Jiang Tian had the same memories as the real body. He was very clear about these things. The real Devil World was incomparably vast. It was even vaster than the Central Star River. Its diameter was calculated in terms of 100,000 light years. A single mountain was tens of thousands of kilometers high. If the Devil World was connected to the Saint Origin World, the Saint Origin World would be immediately devoured by a terrifying force. Jiang Tian had entered the Grand Canyon several times in his previous life. He had discovered that the reason for the eruption of demonic aura was a fragment of the Devil World that had fallen into the canyon. Bang! Jiang Tian's hair fluttered in the wind like weeds. He clenched his hand and threw a punch. It was fierce and fierce. That punch was unstoppable. It was like a meteorite hitting the ground. It directly smashed a nascent soul-level ferocious beast that was 1,000 feet tall and covered in scales into a rain of flesh. This is awesome. The past Mi Jiang Tian roared to the sky. His eyes were filled with bloodthirsty and frenzied murderous intent. He was like a demon lord, venting the evil and murderous thoughts in his heart. He was unstoppable and indomitable. Swish! He swept across the world and broke the world with his fist. His body flashed and he flashed 1,000 miles away like a human-shaped fighter jet. Chapter 1913. Jiang Tian continued his journey. The further east he went, the closer he got to the evil-infested ridge and the critical canyon, the more powerful the beasts he encountered. In the end, he even met a half-step divine transformation serpent that was at least 1,000 meters long. It was like a small mountain that floated in the air. From head to tail, it was covered in streamlined scales that flashed with a metallic luster. Its claws were sharp and its eyes were filled with a crimson light. It was incomparably bloody and ferocious. When they met Jiang Tian, it was devouring a small group of cultivators. This group of cultivators was made up of 7 or 8 people. They were all nascent soul cultivators. Their clothing was completely different from the southern border. They were clearly natives of the Eastern Gorge public land. They were probably trying to complete a mission or to train their cultivation, so they went out of the city to hunt beasts. However, they didn't expect to be caught by this half-step divine transformation serpent. They simply couldn't resist and killed one person with one claw. It tore them apart and swallowed them into its mouth. Tisk, tsk, tsk. Such a big one, I'm going to be happy again. Jiang Tian's eyes shot out a ferocious light. His clothes were tattered like a madman as his body directly flashed over. He punched out and a bright golden light gathered in his fist like a small sun in the sky. It was incomparably bright. The serpent was extremely cunning and had already noticed Jiang Tian. Its body suddenly flashed. Although its body was huge, it was extremely agile, so Jiang Tian only focused on its tail. Boom! Jiang Tian's fist imprinted a deep bloody hole on the tail. The serpent's ferocious nature erupted. It let out an angry roar and turned its head. It opened its sharp dragon mouth and ferocious claws and attacked Jiang Tian. Suddenly, a ray of divine light came from the distance at an extremely fast speed. Within the divine light, there was a peerless heavenly woman. Her figure was tall and graceful with a peerless charm. Her entire body was shrouded in divine light, so one couldn't see her appearance clearly. She was like a fairy. The woman raised her hand and a ray of light streaked across and circled around the serpent's neck. Poof! The serpent's head that was as big as a house was chopped off. Countless black demonic blood spurted out. At this moment, the crowd finally saw clearly that the streak of light was a saint weapon as thin as autumn water, shining with a faint light. 5,000 miles south from here, all the ferocious beasts have been cleared by me. You all should leave quickly. The mysterious woman said. Her voice was incomparably cold and pleasant to the ear, as if it came from the 9 heavens. Thank you for saving my life, fairy. The few surviving cultivators all knelt down and kowtowed before leaving in a hurry. Good weapon. Since I can't use the absolute heaven sword, I might as well kill her and take her treasure. Jiang Tian's eyes immediately widened. He first glanced at the holy weapon in this woman's hand. Then, he could not help but rub his hands together like a fly in excitement. He was the incarnation of the evil thoughts in Jiang Tian's heart. Even though his mana and skills were on par with the original body, his actions were wretched and vicious. Fairy, let's negotiate. The sacred artifact in your hand is extremely skilled in refining. I wonder if I can borrow it to study it in detail. Jiang Tian got closer. His eyes were filled with greed and his saliva was about to flow out. Hee. You want to steal my treasure? The mysterious fairy's face was covered by a veil and her expression could not be seen clearly due to the dense holy light. She only snorted coldly and her voice was as cold as an ancient glacier. You don't know what's good for you. Can't you see that I'm a half-step void return cultivator? Aren't you afraid of death? Tisk tsk, a half-sage. Jiang Tian crossed his arms and said casually, like a street gangster or an idler in a village. He said leisurely, who are you trying to scare? I'm not afraid. It's not like I can't kill you with some underhanded methods. Come, hand over your holy weapon for me to study. I'm a playboy, the passionate prince. I naturally have tender feelings for the fairer sex. I won't kill you. Instead, I'll dote on you and cultivate together with you. We'll reach the peak of nirvana together. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Lecher, you want to die. The mysterious fairy was so angry that her body trembled slightly. She shouted coldly. Her voice was as clear and cold as jade. At the same time, a monstrous pressure was released. The holy weapon in her hand vibrated wildly with a murderous aura. Jiang Tian's words were extremely frivolous. It was as if he was molesting her. This woman's status was extremely high and her cultivation was high. How could she tolerate him? What a fierce little mare. I like it. I want to ride it. My cultivation is heaven-defying and I'm talented. I'm the reincarnation of the 9 heavens immortals. You can't kill me. Little girl, let's try cultivating together. I'll make you feel good from your hair to your toes. If you don't like it, it's not too late to kill me. I won't fight back. Jiang Tian was bold and lustful. He was not afraid at all. Instead, he winked and tempted her patiently. Fairy Qingjue, come quickly. The mighty figures of the demon clan are ferocious. We can't resist them. The mysterious fairy was about to attack Jiang Tian when a scream came from the jade token at her waist. She had something important to do. In addition, Jiang Tian's words were crazy. She thought that this person was probably crazy. Why should she lower herself to his level and delay the rescue of Li Yichen and Lin Dai? I don't have any skills to deal with you, but I'll make you suffer a little. The fairy cast a space-shifting talisman and sent Jiang Tian to a monster's lair thousands of miles away. Then, she left quickly. Fairy Qingjue. The 9 Mysteries Sect's holy maiden. So it's her. In my previous life, she was high and mighty. I couldn't covet her. If I don't eat you up today, I'll have lived another life in vain. Jiang Tian struck out with his fists and feet, quickly crippling these fierce beasts, and stepped out of the cave covered in blood. Shaking his clothes, his eyes flashed with a trace of wretchedness and greed. Stepping into the air, he chased after the woman, apparently forgetting that he was going to rescue Lin Dai, 100 Flowers Peak. Originally, the mountains were beautiful. Springs gurgled, waterfalls cascading down like waterfalls, fragrant grass, and hundreds of flowers bloomed. Throughout the year, the sun was warm and the wind was warm. It was like spring all year round. However, at this moment, the sky was covered with dark clouds. Demonic wind blew. Sometimes, there were flashes of lightning, thunder, and heavy rain. Sometimes, there was a snowstorm. On the ground, corpses were strewn everywhere. Blood and flesh were badly mangled and bones were piled up. From time to time, colorful lightning flashed. That was because the fragments of the Dharma laws collided in the air. It was a mess like hell. Several divine lords of the soul formation stage and hundreds of nascent soul stage heavenly lords were fighting crazily. Sword chi was everywhere, the Dharma laws were surging, and the atmosphere was murderous. The beautiful mountains had already collapsed into rubble. The bottom of the valley had risen high and the terrain had changed drastically. On a mountain 100 miles to the east of 100 Flowers Peak, there were hundreds of masters standing proudly. They were watching the battle closely. They were all wearing uniforms and seemed to be the subordinates of the Duke of Eastern Canyon. Among them, there were 5 divine lords. Each of them was surrounded by the Dharma laws and the Great Tao. Even the weakest of them was at the peak of the nascent soul stage. Each of them had an extraordinary temperament and profound cultivation. Duke of Eastern Canyon, it seems like the demon race's grand masters of the Myriad Demons Palace are fighting with the 9 Mysteries sect. The Myriad Demons Palace is the most evil force of the demon race in the Empire. The Empire views them as a mortal enemy and they are fighting in the territory of the Duke. Should we help the 9 Mysteries sect to eliminate the Myriad Demons Palace? A middle-aged divine lord looked at an old man riding on a nascent soul stage flood dragon and asked respectfully. This middle-aged divine lord was handsome and elegant. He was at the late stage of the soul formation stage and was one of the 4 honorable guests of the Duke of Eastern Canyon. He cultivated the Dharma laws and the great Tao of painting. His name was Dan Qingsheng. The brush in his hand was able to create things out of thin air. He was one of the top 20 masters in the Empire. Brother Dan Qing, do you think that the 9 Mysteries sect is not the mortal enemy of the Empire? The Duke of Eastern Canyon was at the peak of the soul formation stage. He was tall and muscular and his back was straight. He was vigorous. His hair was white and shiny, but his face was ruddy and there was not a single wrinkle on his skin. He looked like a newborn baby. His eyes were as bright as lightning, giving people a sense of wisdom and sharpness. He was indeed worthy of being one of the 4 dukes of the Empire. Chapter 1914. Dan Qing, don't worry. Their sects are powerful and they can steal resources from the Empire as they please. They can even manipulate the feudal lords and ignore the imperial power. It's a dogfight between them and the pantheon of demons. Let's just watch from the sidelines and reap the benefits. The one who spoke was another guest elder of the dragon family, Bald Pen Wang. His appearance was aged, and he had a red, windy nose. His green clothes were in tatters, greasy and dirty, and he carried a large brush that was like a mop on his shoulder. He held a red-skinned wine gourd in his hand, and he occasionally took a sip while speaking with drunken eyes. Who do you think will win? Another middle-aged divine lord who was dressed like a scholar said coldly. The scholar was bald and his face was thin. His eyebrows were slightly furrowed as if he was always thinking. But his eyes were as calm as an ancient well. It seemed that even the collapse of the world couldn't move him at all. His name was Stone Fozy, and he was an expert in chess. He was also one of the 4 vassals under the Duke of Eastern Gorge. Through chess, he had comprehended the heavenly Tao and the art of formations. Not only was he one of the 4 vassals, but he was also one of the Duke of Eastern Gorge's advisors. I think the 9 Mystery sect is better. didn't you see that the saintess of the Nine Mysteries sect, Fairy Qingjue, is here? The last guest elder, Huang Zhonggong, said with a smile. He was a monk in a loose robe with a scar on his head. There were golden bells and gyukins of different sizes floating in front of him. They made waves of vibrating sound waves that disturbed the world. The 4 guest elders were the most powerful assistants of the Duke of the Eastern Canyon. They were good at music, chess, calligraphy, and painting. They were also known as the 4 greats of the Eastern Canyon. Everyone was a bit scared after hearing that. They looked at a woman who was standing in the air outside of the battle on Hundred Flowers Peak. This woman wore a moon-white robe that fluttered in the wind. She had a peerlessly beautiful appearance and a graceful bearing. Her entire body was enveloped in strands of divine radiance, and she gave off an ethereal feeling. She was like a celestial maiden from the 9 heavens. At the same time, 3 soul formation grand cultivators of the demon race had already taken Lin Dyer and a handsome young man in the uniform of the 9 Mysteries sect hostage. They were leading hundreds of nascent soul realm demons to break through the dimension and rush out. On the outside, there were 4 divine transformation stage elders and hall masters of the 9 Mysteries sect, along with hundreds of nascent soul stage cultivators. They coordinated with each other and surrounded Lin Dyer and the young man like an iron bucket. From time to time, they would attack madly in an attempt to intercept and save Lin Dyer and the young man who were being held hostage. Both sides soared into the sky and burrowed into the ground, charging left and right. You charge, I block. They fought fiercely. They were evenly matched and were locked in battle. On the other hand, the saintess of the 9 Mysteries sect, Fairy Qingjue, was already at the half-step void return level and was known as a half-sage. She was the most powerful of them all. She stayed at the outermost perimeter and did not attack at all. However, when she attacked occasionally, a ray of light would flash by and easily force back the demon race grand cultivators who were about to escape. She would also kill nascent soul stage demons. Her attacks were precise and fierce, and no one could withstand her attacks. The saintess of the 9 Mysteries sect, Fairy Qingjue, is quite powerful. She is indeed a genius saintess of a famous sect. Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked. Even the Duke of Eastern Gorge could not help but exclaim in admiration. There was also a hint of fear in his eyes. Her looks are unparalleled and her talents are extraordinary. She is indeed a peerless beauty. Sigh, if I can win her favor, even if I marry into her family, I will have to work 1,000 years less. From now on, I don't need to cultivate anymore. No one will dare to provoke me. Some of the disciples of the Duke of Eastern Gorge and some young cultivators who did not have a Tao companion were tempted. Of course, they could only be tempted. This was just an unrealistic fantasy. The 9 Mysteries sect was one of the top 10 divine sects on the continent. It was one of the top forces on the continent. Its status was extremely high and its power was terrifying. It was high and mighty, looking down on thousands of sects and suppressing many countries. Even the emperor of a country or the zongzi of a sect was not worthy of her, let alone the disciples of feudal families and nascent soul stage cultivators. The saintess, Qingjue, was not only talented, powerful, and peerless. She was also extremely noble. She was the daughter of the sect leader of the 9 Mysteries sect. When the sect leader of the 9 Mysteries sect was in seclusion, the saintess, Qingjue, was in charge of all internal and external affairs of the sect. She was equivalent to the second person in the 9 Mysteries sect, the spokesperson of the sect leader. In these holy lands, not only the children of the sect leader could be called the saintess. They had to reach the half-saint realm to be called the holy son or saintess. Otherwise, they could only be called zongzi. People like the saintess, Qingjue, were rare even among the descendants of holy lands and divine sects. Isn't Li Yichen the eldest disciple of the 9 Mysteries sect? He has a chance to inherit the orthodoxy in the future. How could he be captured by the demon clan with such quality? Suddenly, the bald pen old man laughed mockingly. The young man in the uniform robe was the eldest disciple of the 9 Mysteries sect, Li Yichen. In the past, this young man was also known as a genius of the continent. He was also handsome and elegant, and who knew how many female cultivators were infatuated with him, as if he was their idol. However, at this moment, he was extremely embarrassed. He was beaten until he was covered in blood. His hair was disheveled, and his nascent soul was restrained. He was like a dead fish puppet. He could not use any of his unique skills. He was even worse than a mortal. As for Lynn Dyer, she was even more miserable. Her clothes were tattered, revealing her delicate skin. Her face was covered in dust, and her tears and blood were intertwined. She was terrified. She did not have the elegant demeanor of a feudal lady. However, the Duke of Eastern Gorge and the 4 foreign dignitaries were the top figures in the empire. They did not even look at her. They did not even bother to ridicule her. Li Chen was able to reach the half-step divine transformation realm at the age of 30. He is naturally a genius. Rumor had it that Fairy Qingjue had personally imparted his cultivation to him. Otherwise, why would Saintess Qingjue save him at all costs? However, he is a genius in the future, not in the present. Right now, he is only a half-step divine transformation realm cultivator. How can he be the opponent of the demon clan? The Duke of Eastern Gorge shook his head and sighed. Lin Dyer and Li Chen are so reckless. Don't they know that the demon clan is dangerous? Don't they know that although the 100 Flowers Peak is beautiful, it is not far from the demon clan's base camp, the critical canyon and the evil-infested ridge? Aren't they sending themselves to death? Dan Qingxing sighed and said. There was no problem for commoners to visit the 100 Flowers Peak. In the past, the demon clan did not stir up trouble. If the descendants of the feudal lords came, it would be dangerous. This was because the myriad demon palace only attacked the feudal lords. They would even distribute the wealth they obtained from the feudal lords to the poor commoners. This was a strategy for them to unite the majority. Most of the time, the commoners did not hate them. Lin Dyer is indeed too stupid. Bald Baiweng also sneered. The imperial family strictly forbids the sects from coming into contact with the feudal lords. They view these feudal lords as their mortal enemies. Among the feudal lords, there are indeed those who have apprenticed with the sect giants. However, these are all done in secret and are extremely secretive. Only she did not hide. Together with Li Chen, they swaggered through the streets and caused a lot of discussion in the Jianghu and the imperial court. Isn't this bringing a fatal disaster to her father? Sai, who told that Lin Hanqing to be so lucky? I don't know how, but he got the mysterious guest Jiang Xiqing to help him. The Eastern Gorge Duke said with envy, this Mr. Jiang is amazing. He cured the little princess's illness and is very close to the second prince. Without the little princess and the second prince's protection, plus the need to use Lin Hanqing to suppress the purple marquis, I'm afraid that with Eastern Lu's suspicious personality, Lin Hanqing would have been killed long ago. Chapter 1915. As for his beloved daughter, Long Juxue, he didn't even mention the fact that she had been humiliated by Jiang Tian. This showed his magnanimity and extraordinary bearing. He was indeed worthy of being a peerless tyrant whose name shook the entire country and who could wrestle with Fang Jinlong. At this moment, the situation changed again. Stop! At this moment, the God Transformation Realm leader of the Monster Clan raised his hand and many of the Monster Clan cultivators retreated dozens of miles away from the Nine Mysteries sect. Obviously, he was trying to negotiate. The Nine Mysteries sect's cultivators also retreated after Saintess Qing Ju waved her hand. Sir God Niu Ben, do you have something to say to me? Fairy Qingjue asked calmly. Indeed. The leader, Sir God Niu Ben, was a big monster with bull bloodline. He had 4 heads and 8 arms and his body was lofty like a hill. He was as tall as a demon and he was a few hundred meters tall. It should be known that it was his real body and not an illusory Dharma form. Hence, it was definitely terrifying. The lumps on his body gave out a black iron-like luster. He shook the blood demon's steel trident in his hand. The sound was like rolling thunder and it shattered the rules of the void. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Thunder dragons that were thousands of meters long flashed in the sky. What I want is Lynn Dyer. It has nothing to do with the Nine Mysteries sect. As long as you are willing to retreat, I am willing to let Li go. As long as Fairy Qingjue signs a spiritual contract with me. Holy Maiden. Don't leave me behind. Lynn Dyer trembled in fear and tears streamed down her face. She was just an assessment disciple of the Nine Mysteries sect and had not officially joined the sect. The Nine Mysteries sect was located at the top of the Saint Origin world. They selected disciples from many empires, not just the Eastern Empire. In the Nine Mysteries sect, there were at least 8,000 disciples with aptitude like hers. It was as vast as the sea. Fairy Qingjue would most likely agree to Sir God Nyoben's condition. Dyer, don't be silly. If you insist, neither of us will be able to escape. Also, you can see that they have held us hostage for a long time but did not kill us. Obviously, they are using you as bait to lure your father to rescue us. Li Chen immediately reprimanded. Li Chen, I'm so devoted to you that I'm pregnant with your child. Hearing this, Lin Dai stood there in disbelief, suddenly struggling madly and wailing loudly. Li Chen clearly meant that he did not care about his own life and only wanted to live alone. She could not believe that Li Chen, who was elegant and aloof in the past, was so cowardly when he was about to die. Stop arguing, you two. To retreat or to fight, can you decide? You were reckless and did not have the vigilance that cultivators should have. You wandered around and did not cultivate. Instead, you were captured by strong enemies, causing the sect to lose 20 nascent soul stage cultivators and 1 divinity transformation stage cultivator. Do you know shame? Fairy Qingjue shouted softly, looking disappointed and displeased. Disciple knows his mistake. Saintess, please calm down. Lin Dyer and Li Chen glared at each other with hatred. However, he did not dare to speak any more nonsense. Fairy Qingjue looked at Sir God Nyoben, shook the divine weapon in her hand, and said loudly, although the Nine Mysteries sect is not a top sanctuary, it is still one of the top 10 holy clans. However, there is a rule in the sect that I want you to know. Fellow Taoists, we must love each other and work together. If we encounter a strong enemy, we will never abandon our comrades. We only want to live and die together. We will never abandon our comrades. We only want to live and die together. We will never abandon our comrades. We only want to live and die together. The cultivators of the Nine Mysteries sect shouted loudly. The rolling sound waves shattered the sky and stirred up the clouds. It was as if they were tigers that could swallow tens of thousands of miles away. Although they were covered in blood, their eyes were still resolute. They were ready to risk their lives. For divinity transformation stage cultivators and hundreds of nascent soul stage cultivators all showed their dharma forms. Flying swords, E-wood, windstorm, ice seal, thunderbolt. Many strange areas, forbidden zones, and many heavenly lords and Sir Gods surrounded the demon clan cultivators. Li Chen pounded his chest and stamped his feet. He jumped up and down and begged, Master, why are you so pedantic? Do you have to keep me here? I want to go back to the sect. Lin Dyer is just the daughter of a duke. With my qualifications and identity, I can take as many as I want. Why do you care about her? Li Chen, you are shameless. When Lin Dai heard this, she was so depressed that she almost vomited blood. Fairy Qingjue, you have forced me to do this. If you want to fight to the death, I am prepared. Sir God Nyobai's 4 faces were furious. His 8 arms shook and his 4 mouths let out rolling thunder. He was obviously furious. As he spoke, he shook his hand and a divine weapon jar floated in front of him. He said in a low voice, This is the demon imprisoning fairy jar left behind by the demon clan great sage in ancient times. You should recognize it. The demon imprisoning fairy jar. It is one of the 4 great treasures of the myriad demons' palace. It is not inferior to the demon vanquishing blade. For the first time, a look of deep fear appeared on Fairy Qingjue's eternally unmoving face, which was like an ancient glacier. However, she returned to normal immediately and sneered, "This treasure has been through a long period of time. More than half of its magic power has been wiped out by the precepts and great Daos. It is said that it no longer has the devouring function." Joshuan, Holy Lady, you are indeed knowledgeable. Among the successors of the Holy Lands and Holy Sects, other than Gu Xian, who is better than you in terms of alchemy skills, the rest are far behind you. Sir God Nyobai did not hide anything. Instead, he said with a sincere smile, "Indeed. This item no longer has the devouring function, but its magic power is still there. The most important thing is, do you know what is being imprisoned in here? What a ferocious demonic creature." Fairy Qingjue frowned and looked carefully. She saw that the demon imprisoning fairy jar was trembling and buzzing. It expanded and contracted at times as though it was about to explode. The inscribed Dao patterns and talisman arrays were sometimes bright and sometimes dim. That was because the magic power was unstable. There were also traces of dense devil qi rippling out. What is that sound? A dragon? Moreover, as a majestic voice that could not be described with words penetrated the jar, her divine sense sensed that she was trembling from the depths of her soul. The voice shook her so much that her divine sense was unsteady. Her eyes were glazed over and she had the urge to crawl on the ground. She could not care about anything else. Joshuan, Holy Lady, you are so knowledgeable. Sir God Nyobai praised and said, "This is a quasi-true dragon named Decimating Abyss. It was once a half-saint. It was contaminated by devil qi in the critical canyon and wreaked havoc for an era. It devoured 800 divine transformation realm cultivators, 9,000 nascent soul realm cultivators, and billions of lives. It wreaked havoc in the entire Saint Origin world and no one could stop it." Decimating Abyss. Everyone's expression changed drastically. Even the Duke of Eastern Canyon, the 4 foreign dignitaries, and Fairy Qingjue's expression changed. Chapter 1916. This was because the Decimating Abyss was indeed a ferocious demonic beast in the Saint Origin world. However, it had been annihilated in the long river of history. 3,000 years ago, in the era when the human race and the demon race existed side by side, Qin Pei, a half-saint almighty of the demon race, joined forces with many other almighties to create the demon-imprisoning immortal jar with the help of the ancient star-swallowing stone. After 500 years of hard work, they set up 81 peerless divine formations to imprison this evil dragon. Unfortunately, Qin Pei died in the hands of the Eastern royal family. Sir God Nyoben laughed bitterly as he spoke. He looked very sad and angry. The imperial court is more dangerous than the underworld. The emperor is more vicious and cruel than a demon god. I can only feel deeply sorry for this. Fairy Qingjue laughed bitterly and stayed out of the matter. She did not comment on the conflict between the Eastern Empire and the demon race. Yes, this has nothing to do with the Nine Mysteries sect. Moreover, it has been so long. I won't talk about this anymore. Sir God Nyoben laughed and said, "However, the Decimating Abyss demonic dragon was already contaminated by the demonic qi. However, the demonic qi did not destroy him. I don't know how he comprehended the Tao of coexistence with the demonic qi. In short, his body, laws, realm, and even his deity contained the demonic qi. However, the demonic qi could resist and even destroy the magical power of the demon imprisoning fairy jar." As soon as this was said, everyone's expression changed drastically. What? Does this mean that the Decimating Abyss demonic dragon is still alive? Fairy Qingjue's heart skipped a beat. Yes. Sir God Nyoben said proudly, "Fairy, if you don't believe me, I can show you." No. Fairy Qingjue exclaimed and reached out to stop him. However, Sir God Nyoben had already moved. He grabbed the lid of the jar with his right hand and his face turned red. It seemed that he had used all his strength to move the lid a little bit. Swoosh! A claw that was covered with scales reached out from the gap. It was very small at first, like a lizard's claw. Then, it suddenly expanded and tore the space apart at a speed faster than lightning. In an instant, it had reached the head of a 9 Mysteries sect Divine Transformation Realm Elder. At this moment, the dragon claw had a radius of 10 miles. It covered the sky and the sun with demonic chi. No. The expression of the elder from the 9 Mysteries sect changed drastically. His divinity howled towards the heavens, emitting a strange metallic sound. His divinity was condensed from the Tao of sabers, and its outer appearance was also formed from many strange-looking divine sabers. It looked like a warrior from the future, a war god from the divine world, flickering with a metallic luster. The deity suddenly appeared and soared into the sky, turning into thousands of heavenly blades that slashed toward the dragon claw. At the same time, the dozens of Tao artifacts on his body, both for defense and offense, turned into streaks of light that soared into the sky and charged over. But all of this was useless. At that moment, it was as if the sky had collapsed and the earth had sunk. The sun and the moon were hanging upside down. Countless heavenly swords were shattered, and the gods of swords suddenly collapsed. Dozens of Tao artifacts were like a string of firecrackers that had been ignited. They exploded rapidly, and huge mushroom clouds rose in the sky. Like an eagle catching a chick, the dragon's claw easily caught the elder of the 9 Mysteries sect. The dragon's claw rapidly contracted, and the elder was pulled into the clay jar as well. Save me! The blood-curdling screams of the elder from the 9 Mysteries sect rang out, but the screams stopped abruptly as the devil imprisoning immortal jar fell into a state of silence. Everyone was dumbfounded. Many elders, hall masters, and disciples of the 9 Mysteries sect were sweating profusely. It's too powerful. Even Fairy Qingjue was frightened. When the decimating abyss demonic dragon attacked, Fairy Qingjue and the other elders had used their best skills and released their best Dharma treasures. These attacks were powerful enough to flatten mountains and penetrate the earth, but they still couldn't stop the decimating abyss demonic dragon. They didn't even manage to break the tiniest of scales. If the decimating abyss demonic dragon is really released, everyone will die. Fairy Qingjue's face was solemn, and she didn't doubt it at all. Although the demonic dragon was at the Sage-to-be realm back then, it was obviously used and raised by Sir God Niu Ben and the others. Who knew how many lords of heaven and gods it had devoured? Its cultivation level might have increased instead of decreasing. Most importantly, it had the bloodline of the real dragon, which was born with superpower and unpredictable changes. Moreover, it was tainted with demonic chi that could erase and pollute the dharma power of ordinary human cultivators, increasing its strength even more. I've read ancient records. The real dragon's bloodline has many changes. The real dragon's 9 changes is rumored to have 81 changes. It can be big or small, invisible or visible. It can fly into the sky, swim in the deep sea, hide in the abyss, and see the dragon in the field. It can summon clouds and rain, burn the sky with fire, control wind and thunder, and make sweet dew. I didn't believe it at first, but after seeing it today, the ancients didn't lie to me. Far away, the Duke of Eastern Gorge's eyes were trembling and his eyes were filled with fear. Terrifying. It's too powerful. The Duke of Eastern Gorge and the other alien elders were worried. Sir God Niu Ben had only released a crack that was as small as a finger, and the decimating abyss demonic dragon had reached out with its claws. Its speed was so fast that it was like a white steed flitting across a gap. Its movements were so smooth and natural that it was impossible to trace. Cultivators could also use their dharma idols and supernatural powers to transform. However, they would need a cultivation technique to activate it. They would even need to form hand seals and chant incantations. The fastest way to do it was to form a technique with a single thought. However, it was impossible for someone like him to do it so instinctively and naturally. If they were to go against the decimating abyss demonic dragon, they would only end up dead. At the thought of that, many cultivators, including the Duke of Eastern Gorge, opened their forbidden zones and domains and released their dharma treasures to protect themselves so that they wouldn't be affected in the upcoming battle. The battlefield soon fell into a deathly silence that made one's heart palpitate. Creak. Creak. Patter. Slurp. Only the sound of teeth rubbing against bones, muscles and flesh, bone marrow, brain and blood could be heard. It made everyone's scalp go numb and their hearts almost exploded. It was obvious that the decimating abyss demonic dragon was devouring the elder. Meat, there's some wood. He's too old. The voice of the decimating abyss demonic dragon could be heard from the crack. It was old and hoarse, as though it was the whisper of a demon from the depths of hell. It had a tinge of greed. Niu Ben, that little girl has a high cultivation level and she's smooth, tender, and moist. She must taste good. Let me out and I'll eat her for you. Senior, the 9 Mysteries sect shouldn't be offended. I'll find a few more tender ones for you to eat later. Sir God Niu Ben chuckled and covered the lid completely. Only then did the terrifying voice stop. Sir God Niu Ben shook his sleeves and laughed in high spirits. Fairy Qingjue, if you don't know when to back down and insist on tangling with us, I'll really release the demonic dragon. Fairy Qingjue pursed her lips and didn't say anything. She frowned slightly as though she was thinking of a countermeasure. I imprisoned Lin Dyer just to lure an expert here and kill him together. It has nothing to do with the 9 Mysteries sect. Sir God Niu Ben said in a muffled voice. I also know that the 9 Mysteries sect's rule is to unite as one and never abandon a comrade. I'll take a step back and make a deal. In order to lure you into the trap, we have to imprison Lin Dyer no matter what. However, she's not our target after all. As long as we kill our target, we'll immediately return this girl and Li to you. What do you think? Saintess, this is the only way. This demonic dragon is too ferocious. It can kill a divine transformation realm cultivator with a flick of its finger. If we attack by force, we'll definitely suffer great losses. I'm afraid we can only have a chance of winning if we ask the sect leader to help us. We don't have any enmity with the Myriad Demon's Palace. Why do we have to make enemies? For a moment, many elders and disciples of the 9 Mysteries sect were communicating with Fairy Qingjue through consciousness transmission. All right. I hope you'll keep your promise. Fairy Qingjue said in a low voice as she clenched her silver teeth. Suddenly, the sky fell and the earth cracked. A figure fell from the sky like a meteorite, causing the ground to collapse and the mountain peaks to sway. A voice that was as imposing as a dragon could be heard. Fairy Qingjue, I'll help you kill this demonic dragon. I wonder if you're willing to discuss the great way of dual cultivation with me and ascend to nirvana together. Chapter 1917. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone was shocked. Countless gazes descended onto Jiang Tian in unison, and they were filled with disbelief as if they were looking at a madman. Who is he? How dare he provoke the abyssal demon dragon and the mighty of the Myriad Demon's Palace? Dan Qingsheng looked at the figure in the billowing dust in disbelief, as if he was looking at a madman. He didn't just provoke the abyssal demon dragon and Sir God Niu Ben. He offended the Myriad Demon's Palace and Fairy Qingju. The Duke of Eastern Gorge did not know whether to laugh or cry. He seems to be just a nascent soul realm cultivator. Is he tired of living? Huang Zhonggong chuckled. The so-called discussion of the great Tao of dual cultivation and ascending to paradise together was extremely frivolous. It would be fine if you said that to an ordinary female cultivator. After all, you were a nascent soul realm heavenly lord. She could do nothing but tolerate it. But now, you were flirting with the holy maiden of the 9 Mysteries sect. In short, even if Eastern Lu was here, he would not dare to talk nonsense. Otherwise, the 9 Mysteries sect would be infuriated and the country would be destroyed. Moreover, you were just a nascent soul realm cultivator. He must be a lunatic who entered this place by mistake. Let's ignore him. Bald Biweng said with a smile. At this moment, when the smoke and dust dispersed, they could already see Jiang Tian's figure. His hair was draped over his shoulders, and a messy white beard covered his face. His clothes were ragged and dirty, and his eyes were filled with madness. He was a standard old lunatic. Lunatic, get out of here. Lin Dai was so angry that she danced and cursed. Originally, the Myriad Demon's Palace wanted to lure someone over. After killing that person, they would release themselves. It was a very simple thing. Now that this lunatic had interfered, Sir God Nyoben and the others might really release the demon dragon. By then, everyone would die. Ha ha ha, stupid human. You overestimate yourself. Sure enough, Sir God Nyoben was so angry that he laughed. He shouted coldly, "How dare you provoke the guardian demon dragon of the Myriad Demon's Palace? You are just a nascent soul realm heavenly lord. I can kill you with a flick of my finger." This person actually destroyed the nest of the demonic beasts so quickly. And it's so fast. When Fairy Qingjue saw Jiang Tian, she was shocked again. But he immediately shook his head. This strange man did have some strength, but it was still impossible for him to defeat the demonic dragon, who was in the half-saint realm. It was like a fantasy story. However, Fairy Qingju didn't dwell on the matter. She looked at Sir God Nyoben and said, "He's just an irrelevant person. Sir God, why waste your time on him? I just don't know when the target you are waiting for will arrive. 1 day for the fastest, 3 days for the slowest." Sir God Nyoben reigned in his anger and pondered for a while. 3 days. Fairy Qingjue thought to herself that it wasn't too long, so she could still accept it. Lin Dai also heaved a sigh of relief. She only needed 3 days to regain her freedom. "Everyone, let's take a break," Fairy Qingjue instructed. "Yes, Saintess." After that, the cultivators of the 9 mysteries sect landed on the ground one after another. They swallowed elixirs and sat down cross-legged to heal their injuries. Fairy Qingjue was the only one left in the sky. This was a bitter battle, and many people were injured. "It's the same for us." Sir God Nyoben's eyes flickered and he sent a message with his consciousness, "Jiang Xiqing is unfathomable. We have to maintain our best condition and kill her in one blow." Then, the cultivators of the Myriad Demon's Palace landed on the ground to take a break. Fairy Qingjue then waved her hand and set up a halo to separate the two parties. "This will be the boundary of the truce. You and I are not allowed to enter each other's area and disturb each other. Otherwise, it will be considered a declaration of war." "Okay." Sir God Nyoben nodded. Both parties stopped fighting and made peace. Within 100-mile radius, it was quiet. The murderous and bloody aura that shrouded the 100 Flowers Peak faded instantly. "Sir God Nyoben, didn't the decimating abyss eat the almighty of the demon clan, Qin Yuan? And even your Laozu? How did such a huge grudge become your palace-protecting demon dragon? This is almost the same as acknowledging a thief as your father. I didn't expect the demon clan to be so shameless. This is ridiculous." In the silence, Jiang Tian's voice was suddenly heard again with a mocking look in his eyes. "Wow, I'm so pissed off. What do you know? How can a nascent soul heavenly lord like you interfere in the affairs of the Myriad Demon's Palace?" Niu Ben was simply exasperated when he heard this. His 4 faces warped ferociously at the same time while his 8 nostrils sprayed out strands of flames, cold air, azure lightning, and lightning at the same time, and they incinerated the group of mountains and froze an area of 50 kilometers. The earth quaked and the mountains shook as various phenomena appeared, and their imposing auras shook the heavens and the earth. "You arrogant bastard! Kill him! Bastard!" Not just him, all the cultivators of the demon race were infuriated. They all stopped treating their wounds and soared into the sky like supersonic fighters, crossing the boundary of the truce and surrounding Jiang Tian from all directions. They were all gnashing their teeth in fury, as if they could not wait to mince Jiang Tian into pieces to vent their anger. Don't expose people's shortcomings and don't hit their faces. But Jiang Tian's words were like slaps to their faces. In fact, the demon clan overlords were indeed unable to kill the decimating abyss demonic dragon after imprisoning it. They had no choice but to keep the decimating abyss demonic dragon as their weapon of mass destruction. But they had indeed forgotten their ancestors and couldn't distinguish between kindness and hatred. This crazy nascent soul heavenly lord deserves to die. Lin Dai thought angrily. However, when the cultivators of the demon clan were about to attack Jiang Tian, prepare for battle. Array. Clang. 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 The cultivators of the Nine Mysteries sect acted as if they were facing a great enemy. They took out their flying swords and magic treasures, and floated up into the air to form battle formations. The atmosphere became tense once again. Fairy Qingju's face was cold and her eyes were cold. She said coldly, "Sir God Nyoben, you have crossed the line. Please return." Then, the cultivators of the Myriad Demons Palace realized that Jiang Tian was on the side of the boundary of the Nine Mysteries sect and the cultivators of the demon clan had indeed crossed the boundary. The Myriad Demons Palace and the Nine Mysteries sect had entered the attack range of each other. Ha! Fairy, friends of the Nine Mysteries sect, don't be nervous. It's just that this crazy cultivator has messed up the situation. Listen to my command and retreat. Immortal Lord Nyoben laughed and ordered the cultivators of the Myriad Demons Palace to retreat while suppressing his anger towards Jiang Tian. Swoosh! Swoosh! The cultivators of the Myriad Demons Palace retreated while the cultivators of the Nine Mysteries sect heaved a sigh of relief. Only then did they realize that they were sweating profusely. In an instant, the cultivators of the Nine Mysteries sect glared at Jiang Tian. It was too dangerous just now. Both sides had entered the attack range of each other. If any of the cultivators had a weak Taoist heart and attacked the enemy in a panic, it would trigger a huge battle and the casualties would be immeasurable. Bastard! Don't create any more problems. Otherwise, I'll kill you first when I regain my freedom. If you want to die, don't drag us down with you. Li Chen shouted in exasperation. Chapter 1918. Li Chen was almost scared to death. Originally, the Nine Mysteries sect was not targeting Lin Dyer or the Nine Mysteries sect. They were targeting someone behind Lin Dyer. However, the Nine Mysteries sect and the Myriad Demons Palace each had their own principles. In order to avoid losses, they had reached an agreement and the matter had been settled. Unexpectedly, this kid provoked Nyoben's anger with just a few words and almost caused a fire to break out. Lin Dyer was so scared that her legs trembled and her face turned pale. She did not dare to imagine how terrifying the situation would have been if the battle had broken out, especially when Sir God Nyoben had released the demonic dragon. Fairy Qingjue was also a little annoyed. She stared at Jiang Tian and scolded, "Fellow cultivator Feng, don't make trouble. This is not a place for you to stay. Leave quickly so as not to be implicated. Otherwise, I'll kill you." "Ha, how do you know that this is not a place for me to stay?" "Sir God Nyoben has been waiting for me, Jiang Xiqing." Jiang Tian laughed and suddenly performed the creation mysterious skill. His messy hair turned into a waterfall of black hair and his messy beard fluttered in the wind. He turned into the image of Jiang Tian. His facial features were well defined and his eyes were deep and pale. His aura was vague and there were silver strands on his temples. Even though his clothes were shabby, it was still difficult to conceal his strange charm. What? He is Jiang Xiqing. The Duke of Eastern Gorge's face froze and his eyes shone brightly. His pupils suddenly contracted to the size of a needle tip. "I heard that Jiang Xiqing is a man of strategy. He has always been careful and meticulous. How could he be so reckless?" The four foreign dignitaries of the Duke of Eastern Gorge's mansion were also puzzled and could not believe it. Isn't he courting death? If he wants to save someone, he should be well prepared. He should join forces with Fang Jinlong and other friendly dukes to crush them together or set up an ambush secretly to avoid their attacks. Now, he seems to have fallen into a trap. Shi Fuozi frowned and thought hard. He could not understand. That's right. With such a strategy, how did Lin Hanqing manage to turn the tables around? How did he manage to turn danger into safety? How did he manage to suppress the Purple Marquis? Dan Qingsheng was also puzzled, smiling bitterly. Upon hearing these words and thinking back to Jiang Tian's actions, the Eastern Gorge Duke couldn't help but feel greatly disappointed. He said, I originally thought that he was an extraordinary person and that I needed to rely on him. Now, it seems that the rumors about Jiang Xiqing were exaggerated. That's right, Jiang Xiqing. Seeing that it was Jiang Xiqing, the guest of the Lin mansion, many cultivators had different expressions on their faces. The atmosphere instantly became tense. So he changed his appearance. Lin Dai, suddenly understood, and then she was furious, gnashing her teeth, and scolding him harshly, bastard. I order you to step back and call my father over. Also, report this to Uncle Fang Jinlong. Just now, you repeatedly put me in danger, could it be on purpose? If this matter is settled, I will definitely report it to my father and expel you from the family. In her opinion, Sir God Niu Ben had taken so much trouble to kidnap her with so many Sir Gods of the monster clan. With such great fanfare and far-reaching planning, their target must be a powerful figure like Fang Jinlong or the ancestor of the Lin family, or even an expert of the royal family. Jiang Tian was just a guest of the Lin family. How could he be worthy of Sir God Niu Ben's planning? To put it bluntly, he was not qualified. A mere guest of the Lin family dares to provoke so many Sir Gods of the Myriad Demons Palace? Are you courting death? Get out! Li Yichen also shouted. Jiang Tian paid no attention to them at all. Instead, he flew toward the group of Myriad Demons Palace unhurriedly. He looked at Fairy Qingjue calmly and said with a smug, hideous smile, Fairy, I'll help you kill these powerful experts of the demon race and save your two useless disciples. Why don't you accompany me to listen to some songs and drink a few cups of fine wine? This condition is not good, right? Are you crazy? Fairy Qingjue shouted angrily. Many cultivators of the Nine Mysteries sect also looked at Jiang Tian as if they were looking at an idiot. Oh my god! Is he really going to fight alone? The Duke of Eastern Gorge and the others almost went crazy. They were completely stunned. A nascent soul Heavenly Lord wanted to fight against a Sir God of the Monster Clan. Moreover, he had a notorious ancient demon dragon with him. Even the Holy Virgin of the Nine Mysteries sect did not dare to fight against him. Was he not courting death? Ha, so you are Jiang Xiqing. You are finally here. Come and accept your death. Sir God Niu Ben's four faces were filled with anger. His four mouths roared together and his eyes were cold and murderous. What? So, Sir God Niu Ben was waiting for him. Is it necessary for the Myriad Demons Palace to do this? Wouldn't it be better to just kill him? Why did they have to kidnap Lin Dyer and involve Li Yichen and the Nine Mysteries sect? They have suffered heavy casualties. No wonder Sir God Niu Ben is so angry. Yes. He only wanted to kill a nascent soul Heavenly Lord, but he ran into the Holy Virgin of the Nine Mysteries sect. He lost dozens of nascent soul Heavenly Lords and a divine transformation realm cultivator. How could he not be angry? At this moment, the cultivators of the Nine Mysteries sect and the Duke of Eastern Gorge's mansion were enlightened and shocked. At this moment, the gazes of all the experts gathered and landed on Jiang Tian. Their gazes were filled with pity. Li Yichen could not hide his gloating. Apparently, no one thought that Jiang Tian could be a match for Sir God Niu Ben, who had a strong body and dominated the entire Eastern Empire. Especially Li Yichen. Although Jiang Tian acted crazily, he was extremely domineering and brave. He even dared to face the Myriad Demons Palace. In comparison, Li Yichen, who had been captured by the Myriad Demons Palace and cried for his parents, was unbearable. He hoped that Jiang Tian would be killed so that he would not be so incompetent. So, he is the one they were waiting for. Lin Dyer could not believe it at first. I thought it was Uncle Fang Jinlong or my patriarch. Is he more important than Uncle Fang Jinlong or my patriarch in the eyes of the Myriad Demons Palace? Anyway, he is just a foreign elder in the nascent soul realm. He deserves to die. But immediately, she relaxed and gloated. She did not like Jiang Tian's personality. Besides, she did not think that Jiang Tian was valuable. He was just a nascent soul realm cultivator. So what if he died? Then, she shouted, Jiang Xiqing, how did you offend the myriad demon's palace? You are courting death. Why don't you kneel down and admit your mistake and ask for punishment? Sir God Niu Ben, you have found your target. Let me go first. Li Chen shouted directly, I'll rather die than you. Put the green thunder talisman on them and ask them to get lost. Sir God Niu Ben said with a hideous smile, friends from the Nine Mysteries sect, don't interfere. Our target is not the Nine Mysteries sect. After killing this guy, you can remove the green thunder jade talisman. Let's have a taste of Jiang Xiqing's divine sense. His target was Jiang Tian. If the Nine Mysteries sect or the Duke of the Eastern Canyon attacked him, he would not be afraid of them. But with so many forces, he would not be able to defeat them. However, he had a backup plan. The Green Thunder Talisman was one of the most precious treasures of the Myriad Demon's Palace. It could explode with a thought and could easily kill an early Divine Transformation Realm cultivator. In this way, the Nine Mysteries sect would not dare to help Jiang Tian against the Myriad Demon's Palace and would be restrained by others. Lin Dyer and Li Chen felt as if they had been pardoned and ran away. Anyway, in their eyes, Jiang Tian was just an irrelevant person. They did not care if he died. When they were imprisoned by Sir God Niu Ben and the others, their lives were in danger. The feeling of being controlled was worse than death. If they did not leave now, when would they leave? Chapter 1919. Saintess, we have escaped. Let's go. Li Chen and Lin Dai came before Fairy Qingjue and begged with a bow. Slap. Slap. Fairy Qingjue raised her hand and rewarded the two of them with 2 slaps each, causing blood to spurt out from their noses. She sternly scolded, ignorant and brainless idiot. Do you know how much loss you have brought to the sect by going on a trip without permission? 2 elders in Divine Transformation Realm and more than 20 lords of heaven in Yuanying Realm are dead. Wait for the sect to punish you. Yes, I know my mistake. Li Chen's face was full of shame. He was so scared that he trembled and said yes repeatedly. I will reflect on myself and change. I will never do it again. Although Lin Dai admitted defeat, she was not convinced. Jiang Xiqing offended the Myriad Monsters' Palace. That was why they kidnapped us and used us as bait. Plus, Jiang Xiqing insulted you again and again. How arrogant. You should have killed Jiang Xiqing. Old Niu, you seem to be one of the 4 guardians of the Myriad Monsters' Palace like Sir God Qiling. You have a close relationship with each other? Jiang Tian suddenly asked in a teasing tone. How do you know Sir God Qiling? No, you were attracted by Lin Dai's kidnapping and left Lin Hanqing to the Duke of Eastern Canyon's territory. You shouldn't have seen him. Sir God Niu Ben was suspicious and thoughts came to his mind. Are you here to die? You should feel honored to die in my hands. Very soon, Sir God Niu Ben got rid of the distracting thoughts and looked at Jiang Tian with hatred. He was furious and his murderous intent was overwhelming. Die. Die for you. To be honest, Sir God Qiling has been killed by me. And you can't wait to meet Sir God Qiling in hell? Alright, I will fulfill your wish. Jiang Tian was the condensation of Jiang Tian's evil thoughts. He was extremely vain and arrogant. He loved to show off in front of people and flaunt his achievements. Qi Ling was clearly killed by Jiang Tian's original body, Jiang Tian, but Jiang Tian still put the blame on him. This is impossible. Sir God Niu Ben's face changed and he couldn't believe it. At that moment, another god monarch suddenly cried out in shock, Old bull, I don't know when Qi Ling's soul tablet has already extinguished. Moreover, it was extinguished an hour ago, but he actually rushed here from the southern border. This speed is too terrifying. So strong. It can't be. He killed Sir God Qi Ling and traversed the entire empire in an hour. His speed is terrifying. Gasps could be heard from the audience. Everyone looked at Jiang Tian in disbelief. Even Fairy Qingjue's peerlessly beautiful face revealed a hint of shock as her beautiful eyes widened. She couldn't do it at this speed. That's right, I killed him. Furthermore, it only took me 1 hour to get here from the Red Rock Basin. Are you surprised? Are you surprised? Am I very strong? Jiang Tian was extremely pleased with himself. He then looked at Fairy Qingjue, who was in the outer circle, and said with a smile, Saintess, since ancient times, beautiful women have always been paired with heroes. I'm that strong. In this world, only a peerless expert like me is worthy of you. Don't feel inferior. Pluck up your courage and dual cultivate with me. You're about to die and you're still in the mood to talk nonsense. Fairy Qingjue sneered and berated, think about how to get out of here. Piece of cake. I can kill such a small fry with a lift of my hand. Jiang Tian was still confused. He suddenly smiled and said, Oh, I'm sorry. Are you concerned about me? Do you admire me already? Sigh. Damn it, I have nowhere to put my charm. It's too easy for people to fall in love with me. However, it's not because you're frivolous. It's because my charm is too strong. Fanatic. Lecher. Fairy Qingjue was so angry that her teeth were itching. She wished she could raise her hand and slap Jiang Tian. However, on second thought, he was about to die and she didn't care anymore. I can't accept the title of fanatic. I'm too perfect. My only flaw is that I'm too humble. Jiang Tian said seriously, if we become dual cultivation partners, you have to be more tolerant of this. After all, no one is perfect. Lecher. That's even more ridiculous. Countless saintesses and fairies have pursued me, but I. Jiang Xiqing, how dare you kill my close friend? Today, not only will I tear you into pieces, I'll also kill Lin Hanqing's family. I'll also rush to your home planet, exterminate your family and destroy your home planet. Sir God Niu Ben was in tears. When he saw that Jian Wushuang only cared about teasing Fairy Qingjue and ignored his existence, he couldn't help but roar in anger. Guardian Niu Ben. There's no need for you to kill him. I don't believe that a mere nascent soul realm cultivator can kill Sir God Qi Ling. I'm willing to enforce the law on your behalf and kill him. At that moment, a Sir God from the monster clan, who had the bloodline of the evil wolf, stepped out from the crowd with a hideous smile. All right. Sir God Can Lang, kill him. Sir God Niu Ben roared angrily. Although Sir God Can Lang was slightly weaker than Niu Ben and Qi Ling, he was one of the 10 Sir Gods in the pantheon of monsters. His body was strong and his divine powers were unpredictable. Back then, he had sneak attacked the palace in the imperial city and severely injured a few members of the royal family. Even when he was besieged by a few divine transformation realm cultivators and hundreds of nascent soul realm cultivators, he was still able to talk and escape unscathed. However, Sir God Niu Ben didn't know Jiang Tian's background and he was still worried. He raised his hand and pointed at another Sir God from the monster clan. He said coldly, Sir God Catching Moon, this guy is evil. You can join him. Yes, Protector. The moon-catching divine lord had a grotesque appearance. He had 8 thin and long arms that resembled dried branches and bamboo joints. His stomach was perfectly round, as though he was pregnant for 10 months. His entire body was covered in black fur and his face was extremely ugly. However, no one dared to belittle him. He had the bloodline of the heavenly web spider. It took him 500 years to form the monster core. It took him 1,000 years to reach the nascent soul realm and 3,000 years to become a god in the human world. His bloodline was special and he was talented. He was a kind of fierce insect that was famous in the Saint Origin world. He was an ancient mutated species that could spit out the heavenly web. The web was extremely tough and it was difficult for sharp weapons to cut it. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that even an ordinary heavenly web spider was a headache for the cultivators, let alone a divine transformation realm cultivator. He had already formed the rules of heavenly web and the great Tao. He was said to be able to catch the moon, refine stars, and break the moon. He was extremely fierce and terrifying. Kid, you deserve to die. Sir God Catching Moon turned his head and stared at Jiang Tian fiercely as he said coldly. Boom! Two earth-shattering auras suddenly burst out and rushed toward Jiang Tian. Although the rules of Tao in the Saint Origin world were more condensed and the great Tao was as heavy as a mountain, the cultivator's power was suppressed 10 times or even 100 times. But when the two divine emperors attacked together, their power was still earth-shattering. Two divine rays of light that were like flowing lights suddenly shot towards Jiang Tian. The earth quaked while the laws of the heavens and the earth were torn apart, and it erupted with waves of lightning and rumbling that caused one's ears to ring and one's heart to thump. Sir God Brutal Wolf tore the sky apart with a bronze mace. Meanwhile, the moon-capturing divine monarch flew to the sky above Jiang Tian. He waved his 8 arms and flicked them. A giant net with a radius of at least 10 miles flew towards Jiang Tian. Oh my, he's so ruthless. Is he trying to embarrass me in front of my baby Qingjue? Jiang Tian was in a hurry and he was shocked. He didn't expect this at all. However, when the two divine rainbows were less than a mile away from him, Sir God Nyo Ben revealed a complacent and sinister smile as if he was about to take his revenge. Many cultivators of the demon clan were certain that the mission would be completed and they would be praised by Demon Emperor Han Guang. As for Fairy Qingjue, her face was filled with pity and disappointment. Clang! Jiang Tian suddenly attacked. Chapter 1920. Vanishing with Jiang Tian was simple and direct. He punched out, and the aura of primal chaos filled the area within 10 miles. He punched out boldly, and a violent wave swept out, destroying everything in its path. Eternal Universe Divine Fist, army breaking, shattering all. This fist technique was originally peerlessly ferocious, and it was bold and unstoppable. In the hands of Jiang Tian, who was filled with a ferocious and brutal aura, the might it exerted was instead even stronger than the true body. The passing me Jiang Tian broke a bronze mace that came from the left. The chaotic fist mark broke the space and rushed towards Sir God Immortal Wolf. As for the giant net, it was torn to shreds by the fist force. The moon-catching divine sovereign was blown into the air like a scarecrow by the wind created by the fist force. Poof! The two divine emperors of the monster clan vomited blood and were seriously injured by the passing me Jiang Tian. How is that possible? Sir God Nyo Ben widened his eyes in disbelief. The pantheon of monsters had carried out a thorough investigation on Jiang Tian and collected all kinds of information. They certainly knew that Jiang Tian was strong, but he was only in the nascent soul realm after all. He couldn't be stronger and was still a distance away from the real soul formation realm. Compared to the giants of the pantheon of demons, the gap between them was like night and day. They had never thought that Jiang Tian could defeat a grand divine emperor who was at a higher level. What? Lin Dyer also couldn't believe it, as if she had seen a ghost. She had never thought that Jiang Tian, a cultivator from outside the galaxy, could be so powerful. No wonder he's so arrogant and ignores everything. It turns out that he really has that ability. No wonder Sir God Nyo Ben and the others treat him as a mortal enemy. I'm afraid he's even more powerful than our ancestral patriarch, Uncle Feng Jinlong. No wonder my father thinks so highly of him and even wants me to marry him. How can Li Chen compare to him? She suddenly came to a realization, and a faint sense of remorse gradually filled her heart. He's really a genius. He's not just a prodigy, he's a monster. Many cultivators from the Nine Mysteries sect had originally looked down on Jiang Tian, especially after Jiang Tian had repeatedly molested the saintess, Qing Ju. This made them feel even more indignant towards Jiang Tian. If it weren't for the strict rules of the Nine Mysteries sect, which required them to obey the orders of the Holy Maiden and not kill people as they pleased, they would have already killed Jiang Tian. But at this moment, seeing how powerful Jiang Tian was, their mentality changed rapidly. This kind of genius naturally had the capital to disregard everything. This kind of talented person, if the sect leaders saw him, he would probably have the heart to cherish his talent and recruit him. So strong. Fairy Qingjue also seemed to be seeing Jiang Tian for the first time. She covered her mouth with her jade-like hands and was extremely shocked. Over the years, the most talented young man she had seen should be her disciple, Li Yichen. However, compared with Jiang Tian, Li Yichen was immediately overshadowed. He paled in comparison and was not worth mentioning at all. Great enemy, this is a great enemy of life and death. Looking at the admiring expression of the Saintess and Lin Dyer's shocked and slightly regretful expression, Li Yichen was alarmed and felt an unprecedented sense of vigilance. If the Saintess, Qing Ju, recruited Jiang Tian into the Nine Mysteries sect, his position as the chief disciple of the Nine Mysteries sect would be immediately lost. He defeated 2 divine sovereigns of the demon clan with one punch. This world is crazy. The Duke of Eastern Gorge stood at the outermost periphery. The muscles on his cheeks were twitching and the corners of his eyes were trembling as if he had been slapped hard in the face. Lin Hanqing is too lucky to have the help of such a monster. The 4 foreign dignitaries of the Duke of Eastern Gorge's mansion were all shocked as if they had seen a ghost. Die! Jiang Tian roared and punched out again. The world suddenly collapsed and decayed. The great ways and the Dharma were shattered. All kinds of thunder and lightning shot out in all directions. Terrifying cracks appeared on the ground like a Grand Canyon. Raging waves swept across the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Thunder, fire, storm, rain and snow were all different. Even the Duke of Eastern Gorge, who was far away, was thrown off his feet. The flood dragon under him trembled in fear and could not wait to turn around and run away. When the punch was thrown out, 2 fist wheels with a radius of 100 feet appeared. Chaotic chi lingered and dazzled. They were like 2 grand suns in the sky, tearing the void and rushing toward the 2. No! The 2 divine sovereigns, Residual Wolf and Catching Moon, roared crazily and used all kinds of secret magic skills. They even hurriedly took out their natal Taoist artifacts to resist. The 2 divine sovereigns of the demon clan were mighty figures with brilliant battle records and unpredictable magic skills. They were not weaker than the giants of the empire like Fang Jinlong and Elder Princess Mou. However, under Jiang Tian's punch, they could not withstand a single blow. Bang! Boom! With 2 consecutive earth-shattering noises, half of the residual wolf's body, which seemed to be made of copper and iron, was blown up. Countless pieces of flesh rained down, blood mist filled the air, and broken bones and organs flew everywhere. Moon seizing was even more miserable. His divine treasures were blasted through by a single fist, his deity body exploding. His entire body exploded. Arg! The 2 divine sovereigns of the demon clan were scared out of their wits. They tried to repair their deities and reform their bodies while flying away in fear. Ah! You want to run away? Isn't it too late? But Jiang Tian would not give them a chance. He stepped into the air and used the Kunpeng at a high speed. He tore the void with his hands and performed a space secret art. He grabbed in the air and directly pulled the 2 deities out of their divine treasures. Bang! The corporeal bodies of the 2 completely exploded, turning into a rain of flesh that scattered down. Meanwhile, the god was directly smashed into pieces by passing me Jiang Tian. The 9 transformations divine disc behind him spun, and the apparition of Tao Tai turned into a black hole that devoured the essence, qi, and divine power contained in the god. In a blink, the 2 grand cultivators of the demon clan had died. He killed a soul formation cultivator with a snap of his fingers. Is he still human? In an instant, the entire place fell into a strange silence. Everyone was like a clay statue. They were motionless but they were screaming in their hearts. Jiang Tian! You're so vicious. Everyone, let's kill him together. Suddenly, Sir God Nyo Ben roared and stepped into the air. He swung his 8 arms and closed in on Jiang Tian. Good, good, good. Fairy Qing Ju, I'll twist off his 4 ox heads and make a braised, steamed, fried and mixed ox head stew with thunderfire wine. Wouldn't it be delicious? Although I know you've been fasting for many years, we haven't become immortals. We still have to taste the delicacies of the mortal world and experience the atmosphere of the world. Jiang Tian laughed. He was domineering and didn't neglect to fight or flirt with girls. This person is extremely talented and powerful. But why is he so frivolous and senseless? Fairy Qingju snorted in her heart. She didn't hate him as much as before. Ha, you want to kill me? Who do you think you are? Do you really think you can compete with me after killing a few grand cultivators of the soul formation realm? Sir God Nyoben was so angry that he laughed. He looked down at Jiang Tian as if he was looking at an ant. Sir God Nyoben, why don't we stop and make peace? Fairy Qingjue was still in a daze. She only regained her senses when he called her. She took a step forward and laughed coquettishly. I know you want to kill Cultivator Jiang because of the internal disputes of the Eastern Empire. But as you can see, with such a talented person like Cultivator Jiang, you can't touch the mansion of Zhenyuan Marquis. Even the pantheon of demons can't touch the Eastern Empire. Cultivators of our generation should pursue Tao wholeheartedly. We should travel freely in the world and get rid of the barriers of the secular world. We should live a long life and be free. What's the point of taking down a secular country? While persuading Sir God Nyoben, she sent a message to Jiang Tian with her divine consciousness. Cultivator, you'd better stop now. Didn't you come here to rescue Lin Dai, or? She's already free. Why do you have to be so aggressive? If you push him too far, he'll release the abyssal demonic dragon and we'll all suffer. Chapter 1921. Saintess Qingju's persuasion was reasonable. With Jiang Tian's power, he might be on par with Sir God Nyoben. At least he could escape unscathed. But what Fairy Qingju was really afraid of was the abyssal demon dragon. Once it was released, not to mention Jiang Tian, even she wouldn't be able to resist it. Everyone could only be swallowed and killed. When Sir God Nyoben heard this, he was stunned and hesitated. After all, he wasn't sure if he could suppress Jiang Tian. Jiang Tian gave him an unfathomable feeling. If he were to release the abyssal demon dragon, it would be extremely dangerous. The demon dragon was ferocious and it might swallow them too. Lin Dai also understood the terror of the abyssal demon dragon. She put her hands on her hips and snorted, Mr. Jiang, come back immediately. Don't lose your life because of a moment of bravery. Our Lin family still needs your protection. Although she said it in a commanding tone, she called him, Mr. Her words revealed her concern, worry, and reliance. She even sounded like she was acting coquettishly. As for whether she was acting coquettishly to an elder or a woman to a man, only she knew. Who do you think you are? Big-chested, brainless thing, poor aptitude, and ugly. How dare you order me around? Jiang Tian was arrogant, willful, violent, and ferocious. He wasn't as gentle as the original body. Hearing this, he slapped Lin Dai, to the ground. Moreover, this guy had always hated the original body, Jiang Tian. Besides venting his anger, he also wanted to leave a mess for the original body, Jiang Tian, to create trouble for him. You dare to hit me? How dare you? Lin Dai's nose was bleeding and her hair was disheveled. She was embarrassed and angry. She couldn't believe that her honored guest's temperament had changed so much. He turned against her and controlled her in front of everyone. If this spread out, how could she establish herself in the empire in the future? Yes. I'll beat you up for talking so much nonsense. If you dare to talk nonsense again, I'll kill you. Jiang Tian didn't care so much. He was extremely domineering and ruthless as he kicked her soft stomach, causing her to hold her stomach and vomit. You! Lin Dai originally wanted to refute, but when she saw Jiang Tian's crazy and ferocious eyes, she was so scared that she broke out in a cold sweat and shuddered, not daring to say another word. Li Chen did not dare to stop her from the beginning to the end. Jiang Xiqing could kill a soul formation cultivator with a wave of her hand. How could he, a half-step soul formation cultivator, be a match for her? Most importantly, Jiang Tian's actions were wild and unruly. He even dared to flirt with Saintess Qingjue, so he didn't dare to provoke him. Mister, although Lin Dai is your junior, she is also a pre-selected disciple of our Nine Mysteries sect. Mister, you should know when to stop. Saintess Qingjue persuaded. In fact, she also disliked Lin Dai. She was too brainless. Indeed, there was a difference between an alien minister and a master. But that was only for ordinary alien ministers. When the alien minister's cultivation was higher than the master had to be respectful to the alien minister and even had to greet him as a disciple. But Lin Dai dared to shout at Jiang Tian and put on airs as a young lady. She almost couldn't believe the stupidity of her actions. I'll give Fairy Qingjue a face and stop. Fortunately, Jiang Tian was extremely arrogant and didn't care about a small ant like Lin Dai. He didn't argue with her. I tried to persuade you, but you didn't listen and even hit me. Then I'll let you die, you egomaniac. Thinking of this, Lin Dai's eyes flashed with indescribable resentment. She couldn't wait to cut Jiang Tian into pieces on the spot. Jiang Tian ignored Lin Dai and shook his sleeves. He looked at Sir God Nyoben and said with a smile, I forgot you have a long worm. Let it out. I want to eat it. Have you eaten the Battle of the Dragon and Tiger? It's a famous dish, an old cow and a big snake. It's so fresh. If the original Jiang Tian were to face such a situation, he definitely wouldn't be so crazy. However, Jiang Tian was just like that. I was either extremely cowardly or extremely arrogant. Then, he wanted to show off his skills in front of Fairy Qingjue and show off his power. He had completely forgotten about the danger. You're crazy. Fairy Qingjue couldn't believe it and wanted to pull Jiang Tian back. You, how dare you bully me? Sir God Nyoben was furious. He looked disdainfully and shouted, You're full of nonsense. Let's see how arrogant you can be after I crush you. Before he had finished his words, he kicked the air and descended from the sky. His big foot quickly transformed into a big cow hoof that was 100 meters wide. He stomped on the air and crushed the ground and the mountain peak with one stomp. He had an aura that could crush everything and his power was boundless. Not only did the skeleton want to crush Jiang Tian, it also wanted to pierce through the mountain peak below him. Although Jiang Xiqing is talented, she is still too rash and impetuous. The Lord of the Eastern Canyon sighed, but there was a hint of coldness deep in his eyes. Jiang Tian had killed the divine lords of the moon-catching monster and the crippled wolf monster with a snap of his fingers. With such a grand cultivator helping Lin Hanqing, who would dare to compete with him in the future? If Lin Hanqing wanted to kill the Lord of the Eastern Canyon, it would only take him a few words. The Lord of the Eastern Canyon was neutral. He didn't help Purple Marquis and Jinyuan Marquis and he had never offended Lin Hanqing. However, it wasn't a good thing for him if Lin Hanqing became powerful. What a pity. Many nascent soul and soul formation cultivators of the Nine Mysteries sect sighed. It would be a blessing for the Nine Mysteries sect if they could recruit such a talent like Jiang Xiqing. If Jiang Xiqing could kill a soul formation grand cultivator when she was only a nascent soul cultivator, the level of her nascent soul must be very high. She was a soul formation cultivator, or even a saint. Once such a talent was born, not only the Nine Mysteries sect, but also all the holy sects and holy grounds would be in high demand. Seeing this, Fairy Qingjue couldn't help but want to activate her sacred weapon to save Jiang Tian. But suddenly, there was a loud boom. A vast and blazing thunderbolt suddenly exploded under the feet of Divine Lord Nyoben. The lightning was multicolored and shot straight up like a giant pillar that supported the heavens and the earth. The energy was so vast and powerful that it was like a peerless heavenly sword that could tear the sky and penetrate the universe. Everyone could only see that Sir God Nyoben's foot was torn apart by the blazing lightning. Then, the lightning pillar soared to a height of dozens of miles and gave out an aura of primordial chaos. It was as though the lightning that was born when the universe was created could give birth to worlds. Ah! Divine Lord Nyoben screamed and he retreated in the air. Blood splattered all over the sky. Not only was his Dharmalaksana body injured, but his real body was also affected. The other soul formation grand cultivators, including Fairy Qingjue, who was a half-saint, were dumbfounded. As for Li Yichen and Lin Dyer, they were dumbfounded as they looked at the scene in front of them, as if they were mortals who had seen a god. They saw Jiang Tian rising with his back against the thunderbolt. His white hair fluttered in the wind. His facial features were well-defined and his temperament was profound. His eyes were as sharp as knives and he was full of killing intent. He was like an invincible demon god. Chapter 1922. This scene was too shocking. Sir God Nyoben was an experienced peak divine transformation realm cultivator and one of the 4 guardians of the myriad demons palace. He was more than 10 times more powerful than moon-catching demon and crippled wolf combined. He might not be any weaker than Fairy Qingjue. After all, one's cultivation level was not completely equivalent to one's combat strength. Nyoben was an experienced divine transformation realm cultivator and had much more combat experience than Fairy Qingjue. His combat awareness was also one of the best in the empire. However, such a peerless expert was at a disadvantage in the first round of combat with Jiang Tian. How could everyone not be shocked? You want to crush me? Ha, do you have the ability? Bullnose. Jiang Tian's fighting spirit was boiling. A monstrous murderous aura surged. The crazy fighting spirit swept across the entire area as if it was going to shatter the sky. Even Fairy Qingjue felt her heart palpitate when she sensed this terrifying aura. She was shocked and stunned. How terrifying is this aura? Moreover, it's filled with chaotic aura. I'm afraid he's a rare divine nascent soul realm cultivator or even a deity nascent soul realm cultivator. If the 9 Mysteries sect can win him over, they will have a successor. Fairy Qingjue had always been calm and composed. It seemed that even if the world was turned upside down or collapsed, she would not be moved at all. However, at this moment, she was really stunned. Her thoughts were running wild. Her moist mouth was slightly open and her clear eyes were wide open. Who in this world can kill me? Jiang Tian was arrogant and unruly. He stepped on the rules and the great Tao coiled around him as he ascended to the sky. He was majestic and filled with fighting spirit. His every move seemed to be able to destroy the world. It was as if the world could not contain him and everything was going to be torn and destroyed by him. At this moment, everyone knew that an earth-shattering battle was about to break out. It might be the most dazzling battle in the empire in the past few hundred years. After all, Sir God Nyoben was one of the 4 guardians of the Demon King Palace. He was on par with the pillar of the empire, the goddess of war Dongfang Moyu, and the overlord of the southern border, Nanhe Gongfang Jinlong. You're too arrogant. You don't know the vastness of the world, and you don't know anything about the power of the demon race. Sir God Nyoben let out a low roar and his 4 faces were filled with anger. He was filled with a terrifying aura. He had the bloodline of the ancient 4-headed heavenly bull. At that moment, he was condensing his real blood and burning his divine power. His body suddenly expanded to a height of 10,000 feet. He looked like an ancient demon god that had descended and he was almost the same as an ancient ancestor. Die. His 8 arms each held a saint weapon and a Tao artifact. Each of them could split the heavens and shatter the earth. They all shook and changed, leaving behind afterimages in the air. He was like a 1,000-armed Buddha. With a furious roar, he also attacked Jiang Tian. Clang! Jiang Tian wanted to show his divinity in front of everyone, so he didn't dodge at all. He used his chaotic divine body to take on the power of the 8 arms head-on. Suddenly, a huge explosion occurred. The void cracked, the laws were in chaos, and the great Tao collapsed. Countless mountains crumbled. Lightning interweaved in the sky. It was chaos. The sun and the moon seemed to be hanging upside down. Rumble. The battlefield was in chaos within a radius of 100 miles. There was no doubt that it was a peak battle. If it weren't for the sturdy great Tao of heaven and earth and the tough Dharma that suppressed the power of the cultivators, the impact and the repercussions of the battle would have destroyed 100,000 or even a small planet like Earth. At that moment, the cultivators of the East Gorge Mansion, the Myriad Demons Palace, and even the 9 Mysteries sect retreated one after another. They took flight and ran faster than rabbits. The collision between the two gave off a destructive feeling. Very soon, it went beyond the range of the 100 Flowers Peak. Everyone was afraid that they would be caught in the crossfire. In fact, if the nascent soul realm cultivators were slightly slower, they would be instantly crushed into powder by the repercussions of the collision. Not even a drop of dust was left. Clang! After Jiang Tian blocked the attack of the 8 arms, he suddenly threw out a punch. The void exploded and it was followed by the collapse of space. Countless chaotic holes appeared and they were dark, deep and pitch black as though they were connected to another dimension. A punch broke through the void and hit Sir God Nyoben. Divine Lord Nyobai's 8 arms swayed at the same time. The sacred weapons and magic treasures in his hands shone with dazzling light at the same time. Several layers of domains were spread out in an attempt to fend off Jiang Tian's punch. But it was useless. Bang! 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 The fist force was unparalleled and the chaotic aura was extremely condensed. It crushed all Daos and Dharma treasures. Sir God Nyoben's Tao weapons and holy weapons exploded one after another. The fragments and Dharma treasures shot out and collided with the Dharma and great Tao of heaven and earth. Thunderous dragons that were 1,000 meters long were created. Every wisp of chaotic chi that Jiang Tian had unleashed turned into a heavenly sword. There were more than tens of thousands of them. They were as numerous as the spring rain and the hair of a cow. They slashed horizontally, slashed vertically, stabbed vertically, stirred and rotated as they slashed on Nyo Ben's body with various sword moves. They were so deep that the bones could be seen. It was a ghastly sight. The slashes caused the hair of the cow to fly and the beef to roll. Sir God Nyo Ben screamed in pain and he was furious. This is impossible. Sir God Nyo Ben shouted and retreated. Ever since he had cultivated the real body of the four-headed heavenly bull, he had been invincible in the entire Eastern Empire. Even the void-returned saints of the holy grounds and holy sects could only lightly injure him. He had never thought that he would be defeated by an itinerant cultivator from an alien tribe. It was really unbearable. It smells so good. Jiang Tian sniffed and his handsome face showed an intoxicated expression. He looked at Saintess Qing Ju and said in high spirits, "It tastes good. Don't you want to eat it? This is the meat of a heavenly bull. With such a monster helping Lin Hanqing, he will be safe in the empire." The expressions of many of the experts present also changed. The Duke of Eastern Gorge was deeply moved. In fact, there were some things that he had not said. If Lin Hanqing wanted to, he could change the name of the empire. "Duke, you are right." The 4 foreign dignitaries of the Duke's mansion nodded in agreement. They all thought that they were monstrous geniuses. The 4 friends of Eastern Gorge had their own strengths and were famous all over the world. However, the power that Jiang Tian had shown was not worth mentioning at all. "No matter how you change, you can't hurt me. No matter how powerful you are, I will break it with one punch. Saintess, we have to recruit this person no matter what. Even if he is not willing to join the 9 Mysteries sect, we have to try our best to win him over." Nan Gongyu, an elder of the 9 Mysteries sect, looked at Saintess Qing Ju and spoke to her through divine sense. He was expressionless and looked calm. However, when his voice sounded in Saintess Qing Ju's mind, it trembled slightly. It showed how excited he was. "I understand." Saintess Qing Ju nodded with a solemn expression. Although Nan Gongyu's cultivation was not as high as hers, he was an elder in the 9 Mysteries sect. He had a close relationship with her father and was highly valued by the higher-ups of the sect. His judgment was especially sharp. Every time the sect recruited new disciples, he would be the one to check them out. He had once discovered many divine transformation realm cultivators. He valued Jiang Tian's potential. It could be said that Jiang Tian's current combat strength was enough to show disdain for the world. He was on par with the holy sons and Zongzi of the various holy grounds. However, what was more exciting was Jiang Tian's potential. Jiang Tian was very young. He was not even 100 years old. However, he could challenge a divine transformation realm cultivator.